Good morning. Is this the tough talk Britain's been missing?
If you come to the UK illegally, you will be detained and deported and never, ever allowed to stay. Period.
Nigel Farage outlines Reform UK's plans for mass deportations.
It is pledging to pay terrorists like the Taliban to take back Afghan migrants a step too far. Could Nigel Farage come to regret his rhetoric?
A promise to deport over 500,000 migrants in 5 years is just one of Reform UK's new pledges. We'll be debating if deportation camps are in fact the answer to the small boats crisis.
A love story for the ages. Taylor Swift fans celebrate the pop sensation's engagement to an American pro footballer. But how long will they have to wait for the wedding?
Just an hour to go until energy prices will be set for millions of households this autumn. We'll be bringing you the latest in the programme.
And we meet again. Once again, we're going to talk to three Scottish brothers who are making history, all to the sound of bagpipes. They're crossing the Pacific Ocean, and we'll be catching up with the McLeans as they near the end of their mission in Australia. 6:20 a.m. live there.
And in sport this morning, a few Carabao Cup shocks last night, including Sheffield Wednesday beating Leeds in a half-empty Hillsborough. Celtic knocked out of the Champions League before it really begins. And in tennis, Katie Boulter and Sonny Cartel are up with the US Open, but it's Emma Raducanu whose turn later.
Hello there, good morning. Some heavy and quite intense showers moving their way in from the west. We may even see some thunder and lightning, but stay tuned for all the details.
Hello there, very good morning to you on this Wednesday morning. You're very welcome. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Right, let's get this over. Taylor Swift.
I am so happy. I'm
Why?
delighted
Why?
for her. Absolutely delighted for her. I've been listening to her music for near on 20 years.
Yeah.
And I can only describe it as, you know, when you've got a friend who's been really unlucky in love? It feels like that. You've listened to all the albums of heartbreak, and finally, she's 35 years old. She has met the man of her dreams.
She hasn't had a bad life, though, Ellie, has she?
She hasn't had a bad life. She's been unlucky in life, though. Lucky in love, sorry.
Unlucky in love, but
Yeah.
lucky in life.
She's had a lot of boyfriends.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the last one, Joe Alwyn, we thought was the one. She was with him for almost 7 years.
Right.
And then that ended. She was 33 years old. She was very open about wanting marriage and wanting babies and all those things.
Right.
She didn't think it was on the cards for her. And look, she's met Travis Kelce. He's an NFL star. He came to one of her concerts and wore her little friendship bracelets, which all of her fans wear. He was desperate for her number. And look, 2 years later, they're engaged. The ring's massive. That photo went so viral. There were millions of likes within minutes. That dress has sold out, obviously. It's going to be the biggest celebrity wedding in decades. It's going to be huge. This is like a royal wedding for Americans.
Yeah, I buy that.
So we have to be a little bit excited. Eamon, try for me.
Aye. So, meanwhile, why was Hillsborough half empty last night?
Okay. Well, the thing is, half of them, all the Sheffield Wednesday fans, were celebrating the impending marriage of Taylor Swift. That's why they were all gone. So they were all there.
Exactly,
So what are the
Coity.
chances? Who would have thought? I'll tell you why. We'll talk about that. It's because of the ownership and the problems that Sheffield Wednesday have had. So the fans decided to stage, what would you say, a walkout? And well, they didn't turn up. They just didn't go.
Look what a match they missed, what a victory they missed.
I know, and of all the games, they go and beat Leeds United, local rivals who are in the Premier League, and beat them on penalties. So it would have been really exciting, but, they obviously think they've got bigger fish to fry, and they think it's very important that they show the fact that they weren't there. But out of all the games
Right,
to
Paul,
miss...
we'll be with you in about 15 minutes.
Okay.
But now to our top story. And the Taliban has announced they are ready and willing to work with Nigel Farage on the deportation of Afghan migrants.
Well, it follows the Reform leader's speech yesterday revealing a Reform government would strike deals with Afghanistan, Iran and Eritrea in order to achieve their deportation target of 600,000 people.
The policy could correspond to Germany's deal with the Taliban deporting foreign criminals and rejected asylum seekers, while the Taliban claim they will embrace any deported Afghans under reform's plans. Downing Street suggests Sir Keir Starmer would not rule out a returns agreement with Afghanistan and Eritrea.
Well, to discuss all of this, we're joined by former Labour advisor James Schneider. And what do you make of Nigel Farage's plans, James?
I think when the history books are written about this time in our nation's history, we will be, or our children and our grandchildren will be ashamed of our ruling class. We, at the behest of the US, went and invaded Afghanistan. The country was occupied for 20 years. It was left in a complete wreck. And obviously, many people have fled from Afghanistan seeking a place of safety all around the world. A very small proportion of them have made their way to Britain. And the idea that they are going to be sent back to the Taliban is utterly shameful.
Maybe the message, James, is more, don't think about coming to Britain in the first place, because this is what will happen.
Fine, and that just proves the great Martinican poet Aimé Césaire's point about what colonialism does to the coloniser correct, in that colonisation works to de-civilise the coloniser, to brutalise him in the true sense of the word, to degrade him, to awaken him to buried instincts, to covetousness, violence, race hatred and moral relativism. I don't think anything could sum up our truly shameful political media class today better than that.
What Nigel Farage would say to that is it's not our responsibility as British people to be the world's policeman. We're not taking on other people's problems.
It's not talking about being the world's policeman. There are two things here. One, we invaded Afghanistan. Secondly, we, like almost every other country in the world, rightly are signed up to a whole number of international agreements, including the Convention on Refugees, trying to make the world a more civilised place.
Well, he's saying we'd leave those international conventions.
Yeah, oh, fantastic. Let's leave the Convention on Human Trafficking, as he says. Let's renegotiate the Good Friday
Agreement. We'd have our own system.
We'd have our own system. Let's replace things that have worked, which works for every other country. And then the Labour government, following this, as they've been following everything that is put forward by Reform and the right and the hurrah for the black shirts press, you know, proves Tony Benn right when he said what is presented as extreme right one day is proposed by the Conservative Party the next day and then is legislated for by Labour the following day.
But this is already being done in Germany. Germany already has a deal with the Taliban in Afghanistan.
Sure, and how many have they deported? They've deported 109 criminals. Now, you can say that that itself is a bad thing and that 109 people shouldn't have been sent back to Afghanistan. But you're talking there about a very small, very specific group of people, rather than here it's just saying we're going to try to send as many people back as possible. Also, one small additional point. Part of the reason that people who have had their asylum applications rejected in EU states are now trying to come to Britain is through Brexit. We withdrew from the Dublin Agreement, which said that if you were rejected for an asylum application in one state, you can't apply in another.
What do you say to people who, I mean, look at the Daily Mail, for example. Finally, a politician who gets it. So James, there will be, let me just finish my point. There will be people this morning and listening to Nigel Farage yesterday thinking, finally, we're hearing from a politician who has a strong grip on this, who has a plan. Because they're concerned about the number of people that they're seeing coming over the bound. Are you not saying that there is a genuine concern, a genuine worry from people?
Living standards in this country have been falling for 20 years as successive governments run down our public services. Life is getting much worse. And what do our newspapers, like this one that wrote editorials praising Hitler and had on its front page hurrah for the black shirts, and this other slop of billionaire-owned trash, wants to say that it's not the fault of the people that run society, it is the fault of a few desperate people fleeing wars. What are the main three countries that people come from on the small boats? A few tens of thousands of people. Afghanistan, Eritrea, Sudan. The reason why wages are stagnant, you can't get an appointment with the NHS, housing is incredibly unaffordable, the price of food is going up, our energy bills are going to go up in an hour's time, is not because of people from Eritrea, Sudan or Afghanistan. They are not remotely the cause, they are not remotely impacting it at all. However, The people that own these newspapers, also the people that own this channel, the people that own most of our media, are directly involved with things which make the life of people who are watching this right now worse. And all of this stuff, of course, if you are told day after day after day that the people who are coming here are going to sexually assault your children, then of course you are going to be concerned, and fair enough. But that is not the actual case of what is happening.
James quite eloquently and argumentatively put the whole argument, but I doubt there is much support for you amongst people who are watching and listening. I may well be wrong, and I think you've put a very, very strong case. But we ask you out there now, James has had his say, you have your say. Get in touch. We will reflect your comments to him when he comes back after 7 o'clock this morning. But for the moment, James Schneider, thank you very much indeed.
Now at 10 minutes past 6, let's take a look at some other stories coming into the newsroom this morning.
An Ethiopian national seeking asylum is set to appear in court for the second day. He is charged with 3 counts of sexual violence, harassment and inciting a girl to engage in sexual activity. He was living in the Bell Hotel in Epping at the time of the alleged crimes.
Energy prices will be set for millions of households at 7 o'clock this morning. The new cap will come into force at the start of October and last until January. Analysts are expecting a rise in gas and electricity prices. That's despite having previously predicted a small fall.
2, 1.
Elon Musk's space company, SpaceX, successfully completed its 10th test flight of its Starship rocket from Starbase in Texas overnight. The milestone marks a significant step towards a new generation of rockets. Musk says his next mission is to send humans to the moon, for whatever reason, by 2027. Why do we want to go to the moon? No, but seriously, with everything that's going on, why do we want to go to the moon?
Aspiration. It would be fun.
Maybe, do you want to go to the moon? Do
Lots
you
of people
why
love
we're going
space,
to the moon?
and they're
We're going to go to the
fascinated.
moon to mine it and send rocks back to Earth again. It's wrong. It's hideous. What are they doing? They're going to take minerals from the moon. That's what they're doing.
Potentially.
But anyway, think on that, reflect on that, and here is our daily reflection with Vicar Richard Ingram.
The GB News Daily Reflection.
Hi, I'm Richard Ingram, Vicar of Crofton Parish in the Church of England. What is faith? Some people just equate it with belief. Others say that it's believing in something despite the evidence, little more than superstition. But faith isn't quite the same as belief. Actually, it's closer to trust. I may believe that this chair can hold my weight, but until I sit on it, I'm not demonstrating faith. Faith is when I put my belief into action and sit down. I'm putting my trust in the chair not to give way. But this isn't a great demonstration of faith. I can see the chair, I can test its ability to hold me. Putting our faith in God is putting our faith in someone we can't see. That's why it's called faith. Sometimes we think there's like a religious gene or something. Some people seem to be wired to have religious faith, but not the rest of us. I'm not sure if that's true. We all have faith in something: a partner, a job, a family, a football team. For Christians, those things are good, but can't always give way. Putting your faith in God, however, is putting your trust in the one person who never will.
He knelt to the ground, pulled out a ring and said, "Marry me." Taylor Swift. Do you want me to continue? Well, the pop superstar shakes off
honestly,
single
I
life.
couldn't care less about this story.
This is exciting. Try and be excited.
I'm not excited.
You just said that the world feels miserable. So this is some happy news. Let's try and be excited
There you
about
are.
it.
Somebody wants to get engaged, right? There we go.
Lovely, lovely.
Big deal.
Even-
It doesn't need to be front page
Front page of
a newspaper.
every single newspaper this morning, which is testament, I think, to how big these celebrities are, how big this wedding is going to be. This is some happy news.
Thing is, I couldn't name one of her songs, not one.
You do, Love Story. I just quoted some. It's a love story, baby, just say yes. That one. No. Oh, you do. Shake It Off, you know that one as well?
She's very old. She's 35.
I don't think you can say that.
She made the whole place shimmer. Are these words for a song?
Yeah, these are all of her quotes.
Oh, you read it then.
Yeah, she made the whole place shimmer, sharing the announcement in a joint Instagram post with the Kansas City Chiefs player Travis Kelce, that's him there, and showed pictures of him proposing in a garden with that huge ring. 8 carats, I believe that diamond is.
Is this another pun coming up?
Yeah, the couple have been fearless since going public in 2023 and are now ready for their end game, which is another song.
Oh, take me away from all of this. Kinsey Schofield, good morning. Are you excited, Kinsey? I suppose you are.
I am. I thought the writing was pretty clever, too, so shout out to the producers that put that together. I thought that was pretty cute. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for them. They match each other in ambition, and it gives you faith, Eamonn, that you can have it all, a successful career and start a family. I think it's very romantic. And I love the way that he celebrates her. I think that that's the sweetest thing to watch. I mean, they do celebrate each other, but watching the way Travis celebrates Taylor's wins is really, I mean, she could be an intimidating character. She's this self-made, very intelligent woman.
And they're just such a lovely couple together, aren't they, Kinsey? I mean, this is huge news all over the world. It got millions of likes within minutes, didn't it? But it's huge news stateside because even the president was asked about it. And we've got a clip of that. Let's just have a listen to what he had to say.
Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are engaged, and the world wants your reaction, sir.
Well, I wish him a lot of luck.
Oh.
I think he's a great player. I think he's a great guy, and I think that she's a terrific person. So I wish them a lot of luck.
That's very nice, Kinsey. Very generous towards Taylor Swift because he said previously, I think, that he hates her, hasn't he?
He did say that on Truth Social, so this is an improvement. Yeah, I mean, this is more than a celebrity couple. It's become a cultural milestone. They met through Travis's podcast. He went to her concert and was disappointed that he didn't get to meet her and was complaining about it on his podcast. And they quickly became the most talked about pairing in modern pop culture. She attends his games. NFL ratings have gone through the roof over it. And you're right, it is a national talking point. So, of course, we're excited 2 years after they started dating that they're going to take the next big step and get married.
He's a big guy, Kinsey.
He's a stallion. And to Ellie's point, Taylor really has had a wild ride when it comes to her exes. Can I tell you guys a secret that I've never told anyone before? I broke through Radar Online in Amber Ryland. I was the source that broke that Taylor Swift and Harry Styles had been dating.
Yeah, she's actually dated lots of British men, you know. I'd say a good 4 or 5. Calvin Harris she was dating, wasn't she? And the actor, Tom Hiddleston. So she dated loads and loads of British people. But I think it's very fitting that she's ended up with an NFL star. I think they're all-American couple. And she actually said that on the post last night, didn't she? Should the your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married, because people always say she looks like an English teacher and he looks like he teaches PE.
So
very good.
When is the big day likely to be, Kinsey?
I think that they might keep this a secret from us. I would watch this in the way that I would watch a royal wedding and pop a bottle of champagne and get on my couch in my pajamas and eat up every second of it. But they are kind of a private couple. So I would not be surprised if they did it under the radar and we found out about it after the fact or through some drone or helicopter footage.
And I wouldn't be surprised, Kinsey, if it happens quite quickly, bearing in mind they're both 35 and they've made no secret of the fact that they would like to have children one day.
Absolutely. And this is all leading up to her brand new album. He is going into the NFL season in the next week. It's going to be an exciting time for the both of them. So perhaps at the end of this NFL season, we could see that happen. Apparently, he just couldn't wait. After the Eras tour wrapped, he was done with patience and he had to propose.
Oh, well, I'm very, very happy for them. And Eamonn is secretly, deep down.
Yeah, Eamonn, will you marry me?
Am I what?
Will you marry Kinsey? She's proposing to you.
Will you marry me?
That's the best offer I've had in ages, that is. How come you're still single? That's what mystifies me.
I'm not. I don't write as well as Taylor Swift. Maybe that's the problem.
She's in demand, Kinsey. She's got too many options. Oh, Kinsey, always good to see you. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Well, there you go. You've got a marriage proposal by 6:20 in the morning.
Another one.
I think you'd be a lovely couple.
Honor Criswick with the weather update. Let's have a look.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Some heavy, possibly thundery showers drifting their way eastwards through the course of the morning, and temperatures starting to return more towards average for the time of year, but always feeling warm in the sunshine across the east. A very different story across western areas, though. Some quite heavy and intense downpours slowly drifting their way eastwards, so expect some quite strong gusty winds, some intense outbreaks of rain, and possibly some thunder and lightning as this drifts its way eastwards across the country. So quite a damp start to the day, quite a damp start moving into the afternoon across eastern areas, and feeling quite blustery across the west too, but where we see any sunshine, still feeling fairly warm. Highs reaching around 23 degrees Celsius across the southeast. Then to end the day across Scotland, once again, further heavy bands of showers drifting their way through, turning quite blustery around coastal areas as this does so. Once again, another cloudy end to the day across Northern Ireland, but we should start to see some brighter skies drift in from the northwest. Similar across Wales, parts of Devon and Cornwall too. Start to see some sunshine, but still, yes, the risk of the odd shower. But the most intense showers eventually clearing their way across eastern areas. And for a time, it leads to a largely dry night across much of England and Wales. Clearer skies, so it is going to be feeling that little bit cooler than of late. But across the west, once again, further clouds starting to drift their way in, further heavy and intense showers as we head towards dawn across western areas. So a little bit milder still under cloudier skies, but where we see those clearer skies, it is going to feel a little bit of a cooler start to the day compared to what we've had earlier in the week. Once again, through Thursday morning, we're still set to see plenty of showers drift their way in from the west, these turning heavy and blustery at times. The best of the brightness across the very far east and southeast, but even here we could start to see some showers into the afternoon. Temperatures returning to more average for the time of year, highs reaching around 22 to 23 degrees Celsius. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
This is our country, and we think it's amazing. From high tea to the high street, we love it all. Even the rain, we like that too. There's nowhere else we'd rather be. That's why we're here to be the fearless champion of Britain, its voices and its values. Because we are GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Kerr weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Now, it's the final week to see how you could live the next year, mortgage or rent-free.
Yes, an additional £5,000 in your bank account. But if you're one of those very lucky people that doesn't have to make those sorts of payments each month, you could end up with £15,000 in tax-free cash. Instead, there's something for everyone. Here are all of the details that you need.
There's just 2 days left to see how you could win your mortgage or rent paid for a whole year. That's a cash lump sum equivalent to 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, right up to a whopping £20,000. Plus, we'll add an extra £5,000 on top for good measure. And if you don't have a mortgage or rent to pay, lucky you, we'll give you £15,000 tax-free cash instead. Hurry, lines close this Friday. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Now, last week we spoke to 3 brothers from Edinburgh, Lachlan, Ewan and Jamie McLean, who are aiming to make history by becoming the first team to row across the Pacific Ocean without any support.
Well, it's all in the hopes of raising £1 million to help generate more clean water for places like Madagascar.
Right, so we're going to hook up with them again today because they're just 2 days from their finish line in Cairns, Australia, which wasn't where they were supposed to go, but they were blown off course. Let's see. Let's try now the link live in the middle of the Pacific. And there is Ewan. Ewan, we can hear you and see you. Could you hear us?
I can. Good morning from an extremely hot day here off the coast of Australia. Far too hot for 3 pasty Scots, I can tell you.
Look, you talk to me about your blown off course because of winds and cyclones and whatever, but every time we speak to you, you're bathing in sunshine.
It's true. We've had a real mix. I mean, to be honest, days like today are really tough because you can see behind me, perhaps, Jamie and Lachlan are slogging away on the oars, and it's hot days like this where it's really arduous. We're keeping a 2-on, 1-off ratio, so we row for an hour and then we've got half an hour off. And yeah, the hot days are sometimes the worst, but we've had a real mix. We've had, as you mentioned, we've been blown off course quite significantly by a few storms, and that, you know, in those conditions, it's really big seas. You're talking kind of 30, 40 foot sometimes waves, strong winds, and yeah, quite a lot of excitement.
Now, Ewan, Ellie is with me today, so she would like to speak to you.
Yes, hi Ewan. Well done for everything you've achieved so far. Just 48 hours away from Cairns. How are you feeling?
It's a whole mixture of emotions. You know, it's been such, you know, we've been at sea now for 138 days.
Wow.
So it's an extremely long time to be spending, you know, on such a small vessel. So, you know, emotions are really starting to kind of bubble up. It's kind of a mixture of excitement, you know, feeling quite nervous. I think it's that emotion that it's really hard to describe, the emotion of sport. And, you know, when it all comes to a head, it's quite overwhelming, to be honest.
Are you excited?
Oh, hugely. We're really lucky. We've got a few family members, we've got girlfriends, and we've got, a couple of supporters that are coming out to see us arrive, which will be quite amazing. And I think we're all looking forward to some home comforts, that's for sure.
But my friend, it's not as if you can step off this boat and step onto dry land. You're still going to have sea legs. It'll take a lot of adapting to your new surroundings and your new conditions. How long does that process take, do you think?
You're absolutely right. We rowed across the Atlantic back in 2019, 2020, and when we stepped ashore, you have this kind of land sickness where you kind of wobble around. It's like you've had too many pints, and it lasts for about 24 hours. You've got to kind of have people, steady you if you're kind of losing your balance, and it's really strange because you step back on the boat momentarily, and you're standing straight as a beanpole. It's really weird. So that'll probably last for about 24, 48 hours. And then after that, there's a few things that we need to be careful of. One, we row through the night continuously. We've been doing so for multiple months now. And you get really used to that routine of sleeping for, either 90 minutes or 3 hours and then getting up and rowing for 2 hours and doing that on repeat through the night shift. So I think getting back to land, we need to make sure that we kind of get back into a normal sleep cycle because, there have been a few rowers that we've spoken to that have really struggled to get, they have kind of insomnia and stuff like that when they're just getting back into that normal routine. And then the last thing is your hands. That's probably the most lasting. I've had kind of a kind of mild tendinopathy through my hands, which it's just from gripping the oar handle and putting, we've probably had about 2 million oar strokes each across this crossing. So it's a huge amount of repetition through your hands. And it takes a few months basically for those to release off.
And Ewan, what's the mood been like? Because it's confined space, 3 brothers. Has it ever got tense between you, or do you play music and sing together just to kind of keep the moods up, keep the spirits up?
Of course, no. There's been a whole range of stuff. I think the 3 of us are really proud that we've kind of kept it together. We've been really focused on morale and keeping the spirits high, and listening to music, playing a little bit of music. We do have our instruments with us. But albeit it's been very few and far between that we've had moments that it's today would be a good day actually maybe to get the instruments out. But yeah, I think keeping morale up has really helped us focus on the positivity. And to be honest, the main thing that drives us is seeing the donations come in and feel like what we're doing is really meaningful. It's got a purpose and it's going to do so much good. And that is just so motivating, I can tell you.
Well, Ewan, as we say goodbye to you, we will focus on that. And we will tell people who are listening to us and watching us today all over Britain how they can support your charity. So we just say goodbye
to Ewan and Lachlan and Jamie, who are rowing behind him. So look, they've already made £695,000, almost £696,000. Incredible.
Well,
70% of the way to
Clean Brothers Charity
1 million.
fundraiser. It's for clean water in Madagascar, and you can help them reach that £1 million goal by visiting www.givestar.io/GS/record row to Australia. Very long way of contributing. There may be an easier way.
Yeah, if you just Google the McLean Brothers fundraising page, it should come up for you automatically. That's probably an easier way to do it for you.
Right, Ewan, we'll say goodbye to you, my friend, and we hope we'll get a lot more money pouring in for what you're doing. Away and relieve your brothers now.
Thank you so much. Really
Well
appreciate
done.
it. And we'll chat again soon.
God bless you.
Bye.
Safe home.
Take care.
Thank you.
Now, we're not rowing the Pacific, are we? But if you're travelling to work this morning, here's your traffic and travel update.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The A77 south of Shallock Park is completely closed due to vital overnight roadworks, with motorists advised to follow signed diversion routes and expect extended journey times. In West Sussex, there is a road traffic incident on the M23 southbound exit slip at Junction 9, reducing 2 lanes to 1. Normal traffic conditions are expected between 9 and 9:15 this morning. On the trains, Great Western Railway taxis are replacing services between Twyford and Henley-on-Thames. Additionally, Northern buses are substituting trains between Sellafield and Whitehaven. Stay up to date for more travel news. Go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Got Paul after the break. Have we got Paul after the break or Paul now?
Paul after the break. He's going to tell us everything that's going on in the sporting world.
What have you got for us?
Well, we have Carabao Cup. We also have the US Open as well.
OK, right after the break. Don't go away.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie's here.
I'm Michelle Duke, Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's News Channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah,
as I say, now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Paul here, we're going to look through, amongst many things, the Carabao Cup last night, and some very significant results there.
There is. I'm going to go through a few. Cambridge beat Charlton, so that's Cambridge League 2, beat the Championship club Charlton 3-1. But you get clubs that will make changes in early stages of cups. So Huddersfield beat Sunderland. So how about this one? Sheffield Wednesday, who we'd spoken about over the last couple of weeks, about all the troubles that are going on there because the owner, they got problems with the owner, and then there was a lot of the fans didn't turn up at Hillsborough last night. But if you're not going to turn up, well, they probably watched it on TV, because Sheffield Wednesday beat Leeds on penalties.
And Leeds can't afford to be seen to be beaten by
I agree.
local rivals like that. They're in the Premiership. They're already been hammered by Arsenal.
Yeah.
And you think they got to make a statement. Are you big boys or are you not?
Well, that's it. And this is what Daniel Farke's got to decide. He's thinking, well, what do we do here? Do we just go for broke and try and do well in this competition? We should beat Sheffield Wednesday.
Well, his job's in doubt already.
You can't be losing games.
They were already they were thinking about having a new manager for the Premiership, and he hasn't started well. So
not a good start. Early days, very early days. But I'll tell you someone else, if we're talking about managers that could have a little bit of problem, and that's Graham Potter at West Ham, because West Ham lost again.
Yeah.
And this was they were playing away at Wolves, and then also to add insult to injury, they were 2-1 up. There was 8 minutes to go. Wolves scored twice, but then there was a bit of argy-bargy afterwards. Jared Bowen, who's married to Danny Dyer.
Danny Dyer.
That's Danny Dyer. Danny Dyer's daughter, Danny Dyer.
Yes.
That's that one. So anyway, he's starting to get a lot of stick from the crowd because, you know, it's a really tricky thing. Fans are very upset. It starts getting a bit personal. Jared Bowen runs out towards the crowd. Players are having to hold him back. This is not what you want to see because everybody needs to stick together. But you can see what's going on. The crowd's upset, and he's probably upset as well of how they've reacted to him. So he's then tweeted. So how do you deal with it? Do you actually say, you know, you were out of order, or has he going to stand up and say, I shouldn't have done that? And that's what he's done. He's put apologies to fans for tonight's reaction. I'm someone who's passionate, will fight every time I step on the pitch and off the pitch, by the look of it. But I need to set a better example, and you fans know how much I love you in this club. We ride through the bad times together.
And out of the Champions League, the first British winners of the European Cup, Glasgow Celtic to a nobody team from Kazakhstan.
Yes, Kairat Almaty from Kazakhstan. They lost yesterday. It went to penalties. They're not going to be happy. Let's hear from your friend Brendan Rodgers.
And it was, like I said, it wasn't. It was a poor game, I felt. That's just a shame because last year we made some great strides. You know, I've said before we had a hint of what we could do at the level, and with the greatest respect, this was a great opportunity for us to be back there. But sadly, we won't be. So, plenty of endeavour, plenty of honesty. But the Champions League is a wee bit more than that.
It's a shame. They did well last year, not this year. It's Rangers' turn tonight. They play Club Brugge. They're 3-1 down. They're going to Belgium, and then the draw for the main part of the Champions League is tomorrow.
OK, my friend. We'll see you again 7:20.
Thank you, Coity. Do stay with us. Still to come, we'll be taking a look at what's in the newspapers this morning with Claire Muldoon and Norman Baker, including a red phone box that's on auction for guess how much? Well, do stay tuned and we'll let you know. But first, if you're in search of some holiday sun, here's the forecast for some of the top European destinations.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Northern parts of Europe are set to see widespread heavy showers. This could lead to some severe thunderstorms at times. But across Spain, Portugal, the Azores, the sunshine is here to stay. But it's really across parts of France, Germany, as we head towards Switzerland and Austria. Northern parts of Italy, we could see these quite intense showers. So thunderstorms, frequent lightning and also some large hail. But elsewhere across the Adriatic coastline, across parts of Greece, the sunshine once again here to stay, along with the warm temperatures.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
Don't come at me with a knife.
I'll get us sued. OK, right, let's go.
OK.
Is it going to be a boy or a girl? Let's do it facing. Oh, there we go.
Oh. Oh.
It is a
oh.
Hey.
Oh. Emily and
It's going
Patrick.
to be another. It's going to be another Patrick.
I just wanted to give you a little token of something.
Pink,
now that
you got the gender wrong.
Look, who was to know? Who was to know? You kept the secret well. It's just to rip through the paper. It's just a very little thing for the little baby. It's
gosh, a lot of wrapping paper.
Yeah, it's to make it look bigger than it actually is. It's somewhere.
Come on.
No, it's there somewhere. There you go.
Oh, brilliant.
It's a little.
What is this?
GB baby.
I get a little smell.
The archetypal GB baby. I'm
Oh,
sure.
you do treat me, Tom.
I'm sure your son will have a show at about 6 months old. It's just absolutely inevitable.
Well, there you go. We can make the GBB sweet. That's very sweet of you. Thank you, Tom. I'm going to miss you.
Oh,
I'm going to miss all you guys, actually.
Yeah. I really hope you don't stay away for too long, and I hope you're going to be coming back in whatever shape or form sort of throughout the process.
You have me back.
I hope we're going to zoom in and see you sort of, from your maternity bed.
Well, there was a conversation about doing some kind of 24, what is it, one born every minute?
24 hours a minute.
Yeah, well, I think we vetoed that, but we could get Cameron Walker outside the window.
GB News, the People's Channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
We've got Claire Muldoon and we've got Norman Baker, and they're here to discuss the big stories in the papers today. And Norman, all the headlines, when it's not Taylor Swift, it's about Nigel Farage's deportation plan, and a lot of reaction coming into it. There's a split between the papers who say this is the best thing, this is what we've all been waiting for, and those who Guardian calling it ugly populism. The Farage promised to deport 600,000 migrants, involves deals with the Taliban and Iran's Ayatollah.
This is, I think, ugly is the word I would use, and I think it's rabble-rousing, and I think it's very unfortunate we've crossed a line. There is a serious issue about how migration is treated in this country, but this sort of response from Nigel Farage is frankly disgusting and whips up people to have a fear and a hatred of people who are, in many cases, vulnerable and have come here having escaped their lives and be subject to torture. We need to treat people with dignity in this country, no matter who they are. And we can talk about what we can do about migration, Norman, but not this way.
I totally get what you're saying. I know where you're coming from here, but the reaction that we're getting here on this programme is that people are saying, about time somebody's grasping this whole situation.
There are clearly things that need to be done, and I've argued on this programme before, for example, that successive governments have taken far too long to deal with applications and far too long to allow appeals and so on. So there is stuff that needs to be done, of course there is. But let's not take lessons from Nigel Farage. The year before Brexit, 9 people arrived in this country on boats. 9 people on small...
Yeah, but they were coming in the back of lorries then. It was a different way.
We weren't having 60,000 on lorries. We weren't. What's happened with Brexit is we've lost the ability to return people to other European countries through the Dublin Agreement, and that's actually, we were told by Brexit we're going to shut our borders down. The opposite's happened. People have flooded into this country since
illegally,
Brexit.
Norman, illegally. They're coming here illegally. Brexit's got nothing to do with that. Look what's happening with the impact of non-Brexit in Italy, Germany and France, Norman.
We had the ability...
They've still got the European Union cuckold.
Yes.
We don't. It's still affecting them too, so do not bring Brexit into
Well, I will bring Brexit into it.
And whilst I think this is a very ugly optic, deportation, departures, you can sling anything at Nigel Farage, but what he is doing is opening up the conversation, and he's listening. He's listening to the electorate, and he's listening to the voters in this country that have been not listened to for a myriad of years. 14 years of Conservative government, 1 year of this atrocity that we have now under Starmer, and now this.
What do you make of the plan, Claire?
I think he is... I mean, the thing with reform, I think we all need reform in this country with a small r. But what Nigel Farage and Richard Tice and the rest of them in reform is doing is playing to the masses, OK?
Yes, that's what they are doing.
They are playing to the narrative that, yeah, whatever they're doing, if they're whipping them up, but people are feeling that way. Don't patronise, Norman. And what is happening is the fact that they are adopting now things that they could do, and they've looked to Trump, they've looked to the West, they've looked to the US and thought, OK, maybe I can do this. But if he will open up negotiation with the Taliban in Afghanistan, then that's great. Give them back. Take them back.
Do you know what will happen?
Well, Germany has a deal with the Taliban.
109 people. Do you know what will happen if people get sent back to Afghanistan and Iran? They will be tortured. They'll be killed. The women there will be subject to imprisonment.
Look,
this is what's going to happen.
The men should be there fighting for the women and children there. They shouldn't be leaving to come here.
Are you going to condemn people to go back to countries where they're going to be tortured and death?
The only way they can change those countries is by feet on the ground and infiltrate some change and get change done for those countries.
We cannot wash our hands of people.
Yeah, we'll do a deal with you. Send them all back here. Everybody who's offended us, we'll have them back.
Yeah, and then what will happen to them? They'll be killed or they'll be tortured. That's what will happen when we send people back to these countries. And the other thing is 600,000, this figure's plucked out of the air. Where's that figure come from? You can only get to that figure if you include people who are subject to indefinite leave to remain in this country, people who are working, who contribute to society, doctors, nurses, the care sector, public transport. They'll have to go. People in those sectors will have to go to get to that 600,000 figure. This is simply an attempt to whip up people and install hatred of others.
Had to say, and you've heard what Claire's had to say. Please do have your say, because we're going to be debating this after 7 o'clock this morning, and we need to know what you think. And should there be any amendments to what Nigel Farage has proposed, let us know. Have your say.
Claire, let's change the tone, shall we, and look at something totally different in the Telegraph today. World records still left to claim.
Well, we've almost got world records of immigration coming into this country. That's one that's not been missed on the list. Most kisses in 30 seconds. World records are still up for grabs. Back in the day, of course, we used to look forward to every Christmas to the World Guinness Book of World Records coming out.
Oh, and who cares? Look at these records. They're ridiculous.
That's what I was just about to say. You've just taken the words out of my mouth in world-breaking time, Eamonn. Thank you. They are, you know, the world's largest tower of cards, fastest time to clear a game of hungry hippos, that is, fastest time to make a pasta necklace, and that was the under-16. So they've got underage categories. They've got, sorry, not underage categories. They have age discrepancies within those categories. And I think, do you know what? It's a bit of fun. It's a bit of lightheartedness, and it gives young kids especially something to aim towards.
It's stupid.
Do it.
Most whoopee cushions sat on in 1 minute by a team of 2. Who cares?
They get more and more
Eamonn,
niche.
stop being so curmudgeon.
No, I just think it's ridiculous. I really don't care about something like that, any of those records.
Can I make a point about the one about kisses in half a minute or whatever it is? Most kisses in half a minute. I think the best kiss is one that lasts a very long time, not ones that are done quickly.
Oh, well, talking about young people being distracted by these things, Claire, by world records and giving them something to take them off the screens. Norman, you've got a story in the Mirror. We'll be closer to AI than real friends by 2035.
Yeah, this is, I think, in a sense, rather worrying because there's people opting out of reality and having friends that are AI. AI rather than Al are their friends, virtual friends, with kids in particular going to have teddy bears that speak to them and become their friends and so on. This is an unreal world, and I just wonder where it's going to end and whether or not that's going to separate people from reality and from real friends that they might have.
It's a worry, isn't it, Claire?
Huge worry.
Claire, we talked about a phone box which has been put up for sale.
Yeah, 10
And how much has it gone for?
It's £10,000. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Well, it's up for £10,000 and could go for more.
Do you know what they should be doing with these empty phone boxes? They should be installing defibrillators in them because they're very visible. Everyone would know where they are. You would know that a defibrillator was in there. They've already got the local authority planning permissions. It's a job done.
Lovely. Thank you both very much indeed. We'll see you again in 45 minutes' time. Here's the weather.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello. Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Some heavy, possibly thundery showers drifting their way eastwards through the course of the morning, and temperatures starting to return more towards average for the time of year, but always feeling warm in the sunshine across the east. A very different story across western areas, though. Some quite heavy and intense downpours slowly drifting their way eastwards, so expect some quite strong gusty winds, some intense outbreaks of rain, and possibly some thunder and lightning as this drifts its way eastwards across the country. So quite a damp start to the day, quite a damp start moving into the afternoon across eastern areas, and feeling quite blustery across the west too, but where we see any sunshine, still feeling fairly warm, highs reaching around 23 degrees Celsius across the southeast. Then to end the day across Scotland, once again, further heavy bands of showers drifting their way through, turning quite blustery around coastal areas as this does so. Once again, another cloudy end to the day across Northern Ireland, but we should start to see some brighter skies drift in from the northwest. Similar across Wales, parts of Devon and Cornwall too. Start to see some sunshine, but still, yes, the risk of the odd shower. But the most intense showers eventually clearing their way across eastern areas. And for a time, it leads to a largely dry night across much of England and Wales. Clearer skies, so it is going to be feeling that little bit cooler than of late. But across the west, once again, further clouds starting to drift their way in, further heavy and intense showers as we head towards dawn across western areas. So a little bit milder still under cloudier skies, but where we see those clearer skies, it is going to feel a little bit of a cooler start to the day compared to what we've had earlier in the week. Once again, through Thursday morning, we're still set to see plenty of showers drift their way in from the west, these turning heavy and blustery at times. The best of the brightness across the very far east and southeast, but even here we could start to see some showers into the afternoon. Temperatures returning to more average for the time of year, highs reaching around 22 to 23 degrees Celsius. Bye-bye.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Motorists on the M4 westbound near junction 42 at Earlswood should expect disruptions as construction work has led to the closure of the entry slip road with diversions in place. Meanwhile, the southbound A663 at its junction with the M60 is experiencing congestion. For those on the M25, 3 lanes have been restricted northbound, causing potential northward delays. And on the trains, Great Western Railway has taxis replacing trains between Twyford and Henley-on-Thames, and Northern has put buses in service between Sellafield and Whitehaven. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
It's the final week to see how you could win your mortgage or rent paid for a whole year. That's a cash lump sum equivalent to 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, right up to a whopping £20,000. Plus, we'll add an extra £5,000 on top for good measure. Make sure you don't miss out as lines close on the 29th of August. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
Good morning. Is this the tough talk that Britain's been missing?
If you come to the UK illegally, you will be detained and deported and never, ever allowed to stay. Period.
That's Nigel Farage outlining Reform UK's plans for mass deportations, but is pledging to pay terrorists like the Taliban to take back Afghan migrants a step too far. Could Nigel Farage come to regret that sort of speech?
A promise to deport over 500,000 migrants in 5 years is just one of Reform UK's new pledges. We'll be debating if deportation camps are in fact the answer to the small boats crisis. That's in 20 minutes' time.
A love story. Taylor Swift fans celebrate the pop sensation's engagement to American football pro Travis Kelce. But how long will they have to wait for the wedding?
The energy price cap will be set for millions of households shortly. We'll be bringing you the latest.
Could the government sign yet another deal with the EU? Labour eyes up a new agreement on food and drinks. But will it undermine Brexit?
And sport this morning, an American footballer has agreed to marry a pop star, shocker. A few Carabao Cup shocks last night, including Sheffield Wednesday beating Leeds in a half-empty Hillsborough. Also in tennis, Katie Boulter is in the US Open and Sonny Cartel are out. But it's Emma Raducanu's turn later this afternoon. And a little cycling news, Brit Ben Turner has won stage 4 of Spain's La Vuelta.
Hello there, good morning. Some heavy and quite intense showers moving their way in from the west. We may even see some thunder and lightning, but stay tuned for all the details.
Hello, a very good morning to you wherever you are, however you're listening or watching. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello and this is GB News Breakfast. Going to go back in time now with Paul Coit.
Time capsule. I read about this. Have you seen this?
I've seen this story this morning.
Great Ormond Street.
Great Ormond Street, yes.
1991, and I love a time capsule, but they never really seem to be great when they dig them up. Do you remember Blue Peter did one? I think it was like way back in the day.
Blue Peter used to do them all the time, didn't they?
Every year they do a time capsule.
They put one under the Millennium Dome, I remember that.
Right, I remember that. So that's still there.
Yeah.
They had the one in the Blue Peter Garden, which they dug up, I think, in 2000. And then they dug it up and it was all very exciting, and then they found it and it was just all soggy and a terrible mess.
Yeah.
So this one was at Great Ormond Street, right? And this, I think Princess Diana was involved in this?
Princess Diana went to visit Ormond Street, yes, in 1991.
Right.
And this was buried by her at that time, and it's now been opened. And what's it revealed inside, Coity?
Well, this is what I'm going to ask you. I think it's a Kylie Minogue CD.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes, you are correct,
Which is an album that didn't do very well. Because that was like in the middle of her career.
Well, Kylie did very well. She's still going.
She is, yeah.
A pocket TV.
A pocket TV.
A snowflake hologram and a photo of Princess Diana.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is
now,
nice,
those
isn't
pocket
it?
TVs, I had one of those.
Did you?
Yeah, it was about that size. It was a Sony, and it had a screen that was about a third off the mast.
And you had an aerial that was about 15 foot long.
There was an aerial, yeah.
It looks like a walkie-talkie kind of thing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it was a lead-encased box. And it says the Princess of Wales on it outside, so it's really exciting.
It is, but then what happens? I don't know why they've opened it now. Are they rebuilding or something? Or was it just the expectation they couldn't wait any longer, just desperately to open the time capsule?
Do you want to hear something really interesting?
Yes.
In 1872, another time capsule was put in the ground.
Right.
In the foundation stone of the hospital.
Was that Kylie Minogue CD as well?
It's never been found.
No, really?
It's still there. I wonder what was in that one.
I don't know.
That was even more exciting.
That would be more exciting.
Maybe not Kylie Minogue this time round. But no, I think we should do more time capsules.
I just want to know whether Eamon's still got his little television. You still got that little TV?
No.
Did you ever watch anything actually on it?
Yeah, yeah.
So you'd actually sit with the thing like that?
Yeah, I mean, I remember things, you know, when you used to go away in the car somewhere, whatever, you would put it on.
Yeah.
You know, when you were away from home.
Yeah.
Didn't so much watch it in home, but anyway, here's some breaking news. What was that breaking news you were shouting in our ear there?
A typical household gas and electricity bill will rise by 2% for millions of households. It's under the latest price cap, which has been announced by the energy regulator Ofgem. This is the quarterly energy price cap rise by 2% from the 1st of October of this year. This will be a rise of around £2.93 per month for the average household. Now, this is a cap on the energy unit price plus a standing charge, so it's not a cap on total
Well,
bills.
here's what I object to about that on top of everything else. I mean, they're charging us more for what? Nobody comes to read your meter. I'm suddenly bombarded with texts and things. What's your meter reading? I don't even know where my meter is.
No, neither would I. But
what's that all about?
Smart meters, aren't they, now? Most
No,
people
but you have to read it.
No anymore. No. They're changing them all over, so now you've got your smart meter. So it just goes straight to them. You don't actually have to physically read it anymore.
But this is largely based on the cost of energy on wholesale markets. That's what it's based on.
Then why have I to read it?
Have you not got the smart... So you've been there with the...
I don't even know. I live in an apartment block. I have no idea where the meter is.
OK.
Well, James Schneider is here with us.
But no, it's not my job. I don't want to read their meter.
The former Labour advisor. What's your reaction to this news this morning, James? The energy price cap rises by 2%.
Well, the prices of everything go up all the time, and they don't have to. This is both a short-term choice. The regulator doesn't have to increase the prices of energy that we pay. And it's also a long-term choice. We could change policy so that we are not so reliant on the price of imported gas as the last price, which is why our wholesale price is high. It's higher than other countries. France, for example, is lower because it's basically its backup energy is nuclear. And we're being allowed to be price gouged at 2 points. Once at the point of production, sold into the market, and we pay the highest price for gas. And then with the marketers, with the companies which don't actually produce the energy, but whose job it is to compete in marketing it to us, who are your energy providers. Instead, we should have a public policy where we own the energy that we need, that we produce, and we can set the price that works for households and for businesses.
Right, James, you know you were on before, or just after 6 o'clock this morning. Big reaction to what you had to say about the Farage situation, his pronouncements, what's going to happen to these migrants, who's going to be returned to the Taliban, for instance. This is getting a lot of reaction in the papers today. Mark says, James, if these illegal migrants are fleeing a country that may torture them, why not stop in many of the safe countries they use to get to the UK? Josh says, how many migrants are these lefties willing to house? Freddie says, if the migrants stay in France, then we won't send them back. It's a deterrent. Threaten them with that. There seems to be a lot of support from what Farage said yesterday.
So if you take people from Afghanistan, one of the reasons why people want to claim asylum here in Britain is because they speak English, because they might have worked with British forces or NGOs during Britain's long occupation of their country. There are lots of reasons like that why people want to come here. There is one push factor which we could deal with, which is because we have left the Dublin Agreement with with EU states that says that if you've been rejected for an asylum application in one country, you can't then claim in another country. We're not in that. So I was reading a report over the weekend in the Financial Times which said that half of the people in one camp in the north of France had been, I mean, I don't know how they knew it was half, but claimed that half had been rejected for an asylum application somewhere else. We aren't inundated with with refugees. We're not talking about a huge amount of people. And we are
talking about record-breaking numbers, though, aren't we, James? I mean, it's 50,000 who have crossed the Channel since the election last summer. So those are numbers that we haven't seen before.
So we're talking about 50,000 people. The three largest countries that they come from are Eritrea, Afghanistan and Sudan.
Tell me about those countries. Tell me about the consequences if people were returned there.
So Eritrea has had the same government since 1993 under President Isaias Afwerki, and they have conscription, forced military service, which is meant to end after 18 months, but in many cases does not, which is the main driver of refugees from that country. So there could be serious concern. This is why so many people from Eritrea, such a high percentage of people from Eritrea get their asylum, they get refugee status, because if they were sent back, they could face serious harm. Afghanistan, it barely needs to be said what could happen to people who have fled that country, who could be sent back to the Taliban. In Sudan, there is a civil war raging between the army and a militia called the Rapid Support Forces, which is armed by our ally, the United Arab Emirates. And the RSS is engaging in genocidal violence in Darfur, in the west of Sudan. And it would clearly be wrong to send people back into the midst of a civil war. This is what we're talking about. When it is presented as there is a flood of people who are coming to take things, etc., etc., it seems very scary. What we're really talking about is a few tens of thousands of people who are fleeing to a place of safety. Now, could that system be managed so much better? Yes. Could the cases be processed faster so people won't have to put up in hotels? Yes. Could people make their contribution to society faster? Yes. Does any of that helped by Nigel Farage and Keir Starmer's lookalike impression of him and their rhetoric and the stuff that's blasted across the papers? Absolutely not. And it doesn't make your bills cheaper, your taxes lower, or the price of food at your groceries lower either.
It was interesting. Nigel Farage said he did care about how the countries these migrants would be sent back to, but there was a but to it.
Yeah, he said it's not about what side you're on. He says, are you on the side of women and children being safe on our streets, or are you on the side of outdated international treaties?
Well, our political class are not interested about women being safe on our streets. The conviction rate for rape last year was 4%. So to then present some people coming here fleeing things, of course, some of whom may do things which are wrong. This is not to say that...
Yeah, and you'll be aware of a trial. We can't get into it for legal reasons, of course, but you're aware of that trial with the Ethiopian asylum seeker who is accused of sexual assaults against a woman and a teenage girl.
Of course, and if that and those alleged crimes are absolutely horrific. That's not to say that bad things do not happen, but to present people fleeing a place of safety as the cause of an epidemic of crimes against women, where we have a legal system which last year had a 4% conviction rate for rape, is again shifting the blame from the people who are doing the crimes to people who, generally speaking, are not doing the crimes. It's the same act. Look, the Daily Mail is championing Nigel Farage across its front page, as it used to champion Oswald Mosley and the Black Shirts. The owner is a non-dom taxpayer, dodging their taxes, part of the reason why the country is in a state.
James, sadly, I have to say to you that I'll just sum it up with what Marie says here. James, totally out of touch with reality. That's what they think. But, you know, you've had your say today. The reaction that's come in there, that basically sums up what they're saying about you. It must be quite frustrating for you that the message isn't being listened to, but that's what people want Nigel Farage's message at the moment. Thank you for your comments. Thank you very much.
Thanks, James. Now, 14 minutes past 7, let's take a look at some other stories coming into the newsroom this morning.
An Ethiopian national seeking asylum in Britain is set to appear in court for a second day today. Hadish Kabachu is charged with counts of sexual violence, 3 counts, harassment and inciting a girl to engage in sexual activity. He was living at the Bell Hotel in Epping at the time of these alleged crimes.
2, 1.
And that's the sound of Elon Musk's space company SpaceX successfully completing the 10th test flight of its Starship rocket from Starbase in Texas overnight. The milestone marks a significant step towards a new generation of rockets. Elon Musk says his next mission is to send humans to the moon by 2027.
Taylor Swift fans across the world are celebrating her engagement to the American football player. What's his name?
Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce. The couple posted pictures confirming the news yesterday, and even the President Donald Trump, warm words for them.
Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are engaged, and the world wants your reaction, sir.
Well, I wish him a lot of luck.
Thank you.
I think he's a great player. I think he's a great guy, and I think that she's a terrific person. So I wish them a lot of luck.
And you just love this story.
I do love this story, Eamonn, because the world can feel pretty heavy sometimes. The news can feel pretty heavy sometimes. This is a nice bit of escapism. A couple in love, and they're engaged, and they're set to get married. I'm very happy for them. I've been listening to her music for almost 20 years. She's had lots of boyfriends. I think she's been very unhappy with people before, and she seems happy.
So did she start singing at 15?
Yeah, in Nashville.
Okay.
And do you know, she writes all of her own songs as well. She's very talented.
Very good.
I'm going to get them on board by the end of the show. You'll be excited by 9:30 for them. Okay. Maybe some warm words like President Trump, and you can say you're very happy for them. And look at that ring.
Look at that ring. Yeah, indeed. Will the weather be as good as that ring? Will it be as sparkly? I doubt it somehow. Here's Honor Criswick.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Some heavy, possibly thundery showers drifting their way eastwards through the course of the morning, and temperatures starting to return more towards average for the time of year, but always feeling warm in the sunshine across the east. A very different story across western areas, though. Some quite heavy and intense downpours slowly drifting their way eastwards, so expect some quite strong gusty winds, some intense outbreaks of rain, and possibly some thunder and lightning as this drifts its way eastwards across the country. So quite a damp start to the day, quite a damp start moving into the afternoon across eastern areas, and feeling quite blustery across the west too, but where we see any sunshine, still feeling fairly warm. Highs reaching around 23 degrees Celsius across the southeast. Then to end the day across Scotland, once again, further heavy bands of showers drifting their way through, turning quite blustery around coastal areas as this does so. Once again, another cloudy end to the day across Northern Ireland, but we should start to see some brighter skies drift in from the northwest. Similar across Wales, parts of Devon and Cornwall too. Start to see some sunshine, but still, yes, the risk of the odd shower. But the most intense showers eventually clearing their way across eastern areas. And for a time, it leads to a largely dry night across much of England and Wales. Clearer skies, so it is going to be feeling that little bit cooler than of late. But across the west, once again, further clouds starting to drift their way in, further heavy and intense showers as we head towards dawn across western areas. So a little bit milder still under cloudier skies, but where we see those clearer skies, it is going to feel a little bit of a cooler start to the day compared to what we've had earlier in the week. Once again, through Thursday morning, we're still set to see plenty of showers drift their way in from the west, these turning heavy and blustery at times. The best of the brightness across the very far east and southeast, but even here we could start to see some showers into the afternoon. Temperatures returning to more average for the time of year, highs reaching around 22 to 23 degrees Celsius. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Up next to the show this morning, we're going to debate if deportation camps will actually solve the small boats crisis. That's...
you want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
If you come to the UK illegally, you will be detained and deported and never, ever allowed to stay. Period.
OK, well, those are Nigel Farage's tough words as he set out Reform UK's immigration plans yesterday.
Well, they include mass deportation camps to house migrants seeking asylum. But will it deter people who are crossing the Channel in small boats?
Well, let's debate that now, and we're joined by political commentators Eamonn Bogle and Andy Twelves on this one. Eamonn, what do you think, first of all? Is this the deterrent that's needed?
Indeed, Eamonn. I think, look, Operation Restoring Justice is just what the doctor ordered. You know, it's been clear as day from the first Dinghiwala breaking into Britain all the way back in, 2018, that the only way that this criminal operation stops is by removing any and all incentives, full stop. Look, leave the ECHR, reform domestic laws, put the British people first, so that, you know what, if you break into Britain, you get detained, deported, and banned for life.
Andy Twelves, is this just what the doctor ordered?
I don't think so. I think the doctor would be reasonably confused if he'd ordered this. Farage gave this phenomenal press conference in this very echoey kind of chamber. No one could really hear what he was saying. But what he was saying was absolute rubbish. You can't just leave the ECHR. That will take years of diplomatic negotiations. You can't just leave. He should know this better than anyone. He spent 30 years campaigning to leave the EU. You can't just do it. It's not just done. And on deportation camps, does he want to create the Calais-esque camps down in Dover? Is that what Farage wants for the UK? Is that quite patriotic? He wants these almost slums created on the coast. I don't think that's
an alternative to this hotel accommodation that's going on, isn't it?
I mean, it's certainly an alternative. I don't think it's the alternative. You know, everyone agrees that the hotel situation is bad, but fundamentally, where are you going to put these people? We don't want to create slum camps on the coast of this country. That's objectively a negative for those that live there and will absolutely ruin their communities. Objectively, you know, hotels might be a bit uncomfortable for some people, but we don't want to create Cali camps in the UK, do we? Is that what Nigel Farage wants?
Eamonn, that's a good point, isn't it? I mean, already we're seeing protests outside of hotels. I mean, people certainly wouldn't want camps in their local towns and villages, would they?
Well, you see, the difference is, Ellie, that these hotels cost £8 billion a year, housing these illegal dinghywalas. That's a big amount of money. A lot of them are being dumped in communities around the country. Look, unvetted, unknown foreign men that are being inflicted on local communities that affects the safety and security of our young girls and women, which are trumped by the rights of criminals who have broken into Britain. But look, the whole idea that creating slum Calais camps around Britain is for the birds, simply because all you need is literally a third of a mile space somewhere around Britain on a temporary basis until these people get deported. What we have right now are these people being dumped around the country into HMOs for a long-term basis. They will end up getting ILR, they'll be here claiming benefits, leeching off the taxpayer for years on end. Look, we've had Stop the Boats, we've had this so-called Smash the Gang. No, none of it has worked, because you know what? Neither the great blob that is the Home Office is actually interested in stopping the boats. I would say Britain needs an urgent course correction from this 3 decades of the failed Blairite orthodoxy that has, started off. Who can forget? We need to rub the right's nose in it with mass migration. And ultimately, I think this is about fairness and the rule of law. Why should people who are here illegally, in many cases from backward foreign cultures, have the same rights as the GB News viewer watching at home?
Andy, how would you stop the boats?
I think you've probably got to have conversations with France, because that's where they're coming from. I think you've got to have an agreement with the EU.
We're having conversations with France. We've sent them almost £800 million.
Exactly.
I agree. I think the Tory government slobbered over it and messed it up, to be honest. I think fundamentally the real problem is getting that backlog done, the asylum backlog, because we have to house these people whilst they're waiting on their appeal. We need to get the appeals backlog shifted, reform the appeal system, and get the decisions right the first time, fundamentally.
Don't be silly.
I mean, Farage wants to put Calais camps in communities, so I don't think he cares particularly about those communities. One of his elected MPs had a conviction for beating up women, so I don't think he cares about the safety of women and girls. He's a grifter, and he's just this is just his thing right now. Fundamentally, he does not care about the community.
A temporary detention camp, properly secured, is a Calais camp where it's a free-fall. Don't be silly.
Okay.
It is. It'll be a slum camp. It'll be a slum camp. They won't run it properly.
Okay. Gentlemen, got to leave it there. Thank you both very much for your debate, Eamonn, as goes on. Thank you very much. Got to say goodbye to you, and thanks for airing your views. You can have your say, of course, as to what the gentlemen have just debated.
Yeah, gbnews.com/yoursay. Now, it's the final week to see how you could live the next year mortgage or rent-free with an additional £5,000 in your bank account. Or if you're one of those lucky people that don't need to make those sorts of payments each month, you could end up with £15,000 in tax-free cash. Here are all of the details that you need.
There's just 2 days left to see how you could win your mortgage or rent paid for a whole year. That's a cash lump sum equivalent to 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, right up to a whopping £20,000. Plus, we'll add an extra £5,000 on top for good measure. And if you don't have a mortgage or rent to pay, lucky you, we'll give you £15,000 tax-free cash instead. Hurry, lines close this Friday. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Now, do stay with us. Coming up, we're going to find out what West Ham captain Jared Bowen had to apologise for after last night's game. Paul Coit will be here with all the details next.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. On the M4 westbound, the entry slip road at junction 42 in Earlswood is closed due to planned maintenance. Diversions are in place, so expect delays in this area. Also, in Greater London, one lane remains closed on the M25 between junction 29 and junction 28 due to a broken down vehicle. This has resulted in slower traffic, with normal conditions expected shortly. And on the trains, Great Western Railway taxis are replacing trains between Twyford and Henley-on-Thames, and Northern buses are covering routes between Sellafield and Whitehaven. Stay up to date with GB News for further updates, and for more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Kerr weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, this Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Here's Paul. We've got a lot of transfer news and results stuff to talk about. What have you got, Paul?
Well, I tell you what we'll do. Carabao Cup first, briefly. Wolves beat West Ham yesterday in the Carabao Cup.
But as you would say, there was a bit of argy-bargy.
There was a bit of argy-bargy. Jared Bowen had a bit of an argument. He was getting a lot of stick from all of West Ham players were, because they were 2-1 up. They lost 3-2. Crowd got a bit shouty towards him. This is the West Ham fans. He then goes in towards them. He had to be pulled away. There are emotions running high at West Ham at the moment. They've lost 3 on the trot. He ended up apologising and saying that the fans and the players have got to stick together, that old one. Celtic lost on penalties to Kairat Almaty of Kazakhstan in the qualifier for the Champions League. The draw's made tomorrow. Rangers' turn tonight. So they're going to have a go and see if they can turn around 3-1 deficit against Club Bruges of Belgium. Tennis, I've got for you, US Open.
Not looking good for the Brits.
Wasn't a great day. Katie Boulter, I think we can see Katie Boulter. She's not had a good season, really, to be fair. She's now out of the top 50 in the world. So she lost to Marta Kostyuk of Ukraine, and also Sunny Cartel, which was a really bizarre match yesterday. So she lost to the 18th seed, Beatriz Haddad-Maia of Brazil. So 6-3, she lost the first set, then turns things around. She wins the next set 6-1, all over her, and then both of them start getting injured. And it was like, who's going to collapse first? And it turned out that Beatriz Haddad-Maia won 6-1 in the final set. So she's out, but Emma Raducanu, our friend Emma,
Our girl Emma.
She'll be out this afternoon.
No, she won't.
Eamonn,
no,
you've
no,
got
she
to
won't.
have faith.
World number 147, Janice Tien from Indonesia.
Oh, she'll be fine.
She'll be fine.
There's less than a week left on the football transfer window as well. Very interesting stuff. Chelsea want Garnacho from Manchester United, and Manchester United, to the despair of fans, are looking to sell Menu, the midfielder, as well, when our midfield against Fulham on Sunday was non-existent.
The way you said despair kind of made me think that you are one of those fans that wants Kobe Manu to stick around, right?
Yeah, of course. I'd want Garnacho to stick around as well. What a player he is, what an exciting player he is. And apparently he's going to go these days, I mean, 25 million, which is nothing.
Yep.
Players are like 60 million, basically. That's what they're going for.
There's a few things that are going on there in that situation. Firstly, you've got Ruben Amorim. This is a man who wants to build his own team, doesn't he? He wants it in his own image. He wants it to be his way. So it's kind of like, I just wonder how much rope he's going to be given. So whether, and also, if you're going to be selling players, you want to get the right amount of money for them. So whether they're all going to go, it's all very well saying, well, we're going to get rid of some players, but they've got to be, firstly, taken by other teams at the amount they want. And also, there's all the profit and sustainability situation, which also means they need money coming in because they've spent so much.
Yeah, they've spent so much coming in, and there's 3 big signings playing on Sunday. Didn't make any impact on the game at all. So it's certainly, it is not looking good again this season, I think, for Manchester United.
You know what? I would agree, but I think just give it time. We're only a couple of games in. Got Grimsby tonight, by the way, in the Carabao Cup, so that'll be interesting.
Can we talk about
That'll be a win then, hopefully.
You never know. Never know your luck, Eamonn.
Yeah.
Can we talk about something totally different? That's Spain's Tomato Festival.
Oh, yes.
What's it called?
It's La Tomatina.
That's
this is something I've always wanted to do.
La Tomatina.
La Tomatina in Spain.
So messy.
It's, you know what? It is quite messy. It's in Buñol in Spain. It happens today. It's always in the last Wednesday in August. Look at them. Look at those people.
So how does it work? You just throw a load of tomatoes around?
Quite frankly, it's the biggest food fight in the world. There's loads of tomatoes. It started in the 1940s. Look at them. And they just chuck them at everybody. So there are rules. You can only throw tomatoes. Surprise, surprise. Don't tear clothes. You have to squash the tomatoes before you throw them. And then it's only 1 hour the whole thing lasts for. And then when the gun goes off for the second time, everybody drop your tomatoes. And you're not allowed to throw at buildings, but all you do... Can you imagine? This shows me my age.
Those two are just having a snog in the middle.
Up afterwards.
Yeah, I know.
Could you imagine who gets that job?
I know. Can you?
And by the end, they're just in a sea of tomatoes. It's just pulp, isn't it?
I know. And you know, the other thing, does it wash out your clothes as well? Do you think so? It washes out your clothes. Who's going to clean them up afterwards? There's a man in his 50s.
You need a lot of vanish, I would say.
Yeah.
But you know what? I would like to have a go. I'd like to give it
Well,
a go.
Paul, you get on my place in that one.
OK.
Yeah, you can go and report back.
Next year, live from Buñol, La Tomatina, and it's this morning, if you want to catch a quick flight over there and give it a go.
Where is that, Spain, did you say?
In Buñol, in Spain. There it is.
Waste of
Mad. Absolutely mad.
Ghastly.
Anyway, I hope they had fun.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Paul.
Coity.
I think they will.
We had fun with you.
Thank you very much indeed. Still to come, find out what Meghan Markle said she missed the least about royal life. And we'll be finding that out and talking more with Claire Madoon and Norman Baker right after this short break.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Northern parts of Europe are set to see widespread heavy showers. This could lead to some severe thunderstorms at times. But across Spain, Portugal, the Azores, the sunshine is here to stay. But it's really across parts of France, Germany, as we head towards Switzerland and Austria. Northern parts of Italy, we could see these quite intense showers. So thunderstorms, frequent lightning and also some large hail. But elsewhere across the Adriatic coastline, across parts of Greece, the sunshine once again here to stay, along with the warm temperatures.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Well, you're joining us here this afternoon in the Fylde Memorial Arboretum and Community Woodland, and you can probably notice behind me that things perhaps aren't as big or as grand as they might be at the National Memorial Arboretum, but the sentiment here is just as special and just as big, as people here in this community today have gathered to mark 80 years of VJ Day. And we're in this part of the community woodland that is dedicated to all those people from Blackpool and the surrounding Fylde area that received the Burma Star, and each of those people commemorated here with their own individual plaque. And you can see on them, perhaps laying today, are yellow, white and green flowers, and that is because those are the colours of the Burma Star Association. So very, very specific and very, very poignant on this day. And at the centre of it all here in this particular part of the garden, you'll notice this lovely obelisk which holds on it the Kohima, which I'll read to you now. When you go home, tell them of us and say, for your tomorrow, we gave our today. And that, of course, is a reference to the incredible sacrifice made by all those who served. I actually got the opportunity to speak to a 102-year-old Army veteran who remembers VJ Day.
I was in the Army and we were all doing our usual jobs, and then we found out that it was time to all have a rejoicing time.
And I imagine you must have felt some real sense of relief.
Oh yes, definitely. Everybody knew that they'd be going home soon and that life, we hoped, would be better for everybody.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Going through the papers in the company of political commentator Claire Muldoon and former Liberal Democrat Minister Norman Baker. Morning, you two.
Morning. Norman, we're looking at the newspapers and there's a split about what they think about Nigel Farage. He's accused of ugly populism over his plans for mass deportation in The Guardian, and the Mail saying, finally, a politician who gets it.
Well, look, I mean, there are serious issues with the migration system, there's no doubt about that, and people are genuinely worried about the numbers coming in, and there are steps that can and should be taken to try and deal with it. But I don't personally think that the sort of rhetoric that Nigel Farage came out with yesterday and the kind of simplistic numbers and this departure board and everything else is actually in any way conducive. I think what it does is it stirs up people to have
Norman,
fear.
I'm telling you, he was speaking the language of GB viewers and listeners. They're getting in touch with us today and they're saying, well done.
Well,
Isn't the fear already there? I mean, the fear is there in communities.
The fear is there, but the fear is being stoked, I think, by Nigel and his rhetoric. For instance, he's talking about, on the front page of The Guardian, about the threat to women and children from migrants. Well, you know, statistically, of course there are some people who are a threat in any community.
Yes, and you'll be aware of the trial that's going on, which obviously we have to be careful for legal reasons, but it's an asylum seeker who's accused of sexual assaults against women and teenage girls.
How many
so
asylum
those fears are well-founded.
Well, how many asylum seekers aren't subject to legal process because there's nothing wrong? Far more than those who have. And if you look at matters, and I look at this from my time in the Home Office, the greatest threat to women and from sexual assaults in this country is actually from in the household, from white males coming back from the pub. That's where the problem is. So we need to get these things into perspective.
All right. Well, is he saying anything that you would agree with, like, say, withdrawal from the European Court of Human Rights?
We helped fund. We started that. Britain was after the Second World War, and how was it?
We need it.
We do need it. I think we need it.
How's it affecting my life, Claire's life, Ellie's life, your life?
It protects.
Wouldn't make a darn bit of difference to any of our lives if we were in it or not.
It protects each citizen in this country, every British person, from abuse from a government. That's what it does. It gives individuals rights to protect themselves against
It's not protecting us from Starmer the embalmer, is it? Or Rachel Reeves from accounts. There's really no protection as far as I can see.
If Starmer decides to pass a law to say that people should be imprisoned without trial, then we can challenge that under ECHR. It's important for us to be able to do that.
Let's not forget as well, when Starmer stood up and gave his speech on immigration, sounding very like Enoch Powell.
Yes, he did.
You know, and why is everyone not jumping on him to say that he shouldn't have said that, he shouldn't have done that, and why is it all a Farage issue?
Well, I'm happy to criticise Starmer, who's being a kind of lightweight Nigel Farage in this. He's showing no guts at all.
Well, they're not ruling
Can I just
out.
talk about Enoch Powell?
Right.
I don't know if you knew him or not.
No.
But yes, he draws terrible rhetoric. But what a genius of a man! I mean, intellectually profound. He knew his brief inside out. His reputation not good, but it didn't make him wrong in a lot of areas.
I think he was undoubtedly highly intelligent and very creative, and you can't deny that. But I think, like Nigel Farage, you need to be careful with words. You need to be careful with words you use when you say something, because you can have the unintended consequences.
Is he not?
And words being used at the moment affecting communities in the UK, people who have migrated from other countries and are now living and settled for 20-odd years in the UK.
There are people here who've come across, having been tortured or subject to threat of life, who've settled in this country, who are paying taxes, who are in proper employment in this country. Had children here, who are very settled and are as British, frankly, as anybody else now. And they're now suddenly finding themselves in the spotlight and fearing for their situation.
And they may still not be accepted as full-on Brits, really, might they?
No, but they are doctors in our hospitals, they are nurses in our hospitals, they are people working in the care sector which would collapse without them, they are people in public in transport. We need to be very careful of the language we use.
But you could also say, Claire, is listening to the electorate. I mean, Reform are leading the polls for a reason, and immigration has overtaken the economy in terms of voters' biggest concern.
Of course. And, you know, I'm not a massive fan of polls per se, or pollsters, because they can often change, and polls do change all the time. That's the problem with taking the temperature gauge on a poll solely. And I think that, as I said earlier, the populist vote, every single working, I'm using a Labour term here, working person, feels that they haven't been listened to. There is a cost of living. Our energy bills are going up 2% for this year, after everyone thinking they would fall. The cost of food coming into this country, the cost of food to produce our food for our country is going through the roof. People cannot
What do you
afford
think of
to live.
the move from the government today, Claire? And this is front page of the Times as well. Cheese, olives, premium sausages, whatever they are, could be cheaper as they move to strike a permanent food and drink deal with the European Union.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think the whole of Europe, when we left, behaved like spoiled children in the divorce, to be honest with you. And they thought, OK, we'll make it as difficult as we possibly can for you Brits who wanted to remove yourself from us and remove the gravy train that we took for you for granted. I voted for Brexit because of subsidiarity. I don't think we had enough control over anything, especially fiscally, from The Hague. We now are seeing cheaper aperitifs on the table in a food deal with Brussels. And honest to goodness, I do not know why, when we left, in terms of
why this was
only,
an issue.
Why this was an issue. Countries need to trade. We would think, obviously, we would trade with our neighbours. We're still geographically European. We're an island, and we needed to get food in and food out.
And they need to sell it to us.
And they need to sell. I really don't understand why this was such a big issue. And now the optic might be that this is Starmer getting back into bed with the EU because we know he's such a Europhile.
Would there be a price for this, Norman?
Well, I mean, you know, when you're reaching a deal with somebody, whether it's within the EU or outside the EU, like the deal with the Americans, of course there's a compromise to be made on both sides. That's what deals are. As a matter of fact, since we left the European Union, exports to the European Union are down 21%. That's what's happened as a consequence of a lot of red tape and everything else.
paperwork given by the EU to us.
Because we're not members of the club. And if you're not a member of a club, then obviously you're outside the club.
But they still need us in the club. They're desperate for us to get back in.
They don't need us in the club.
Oh, they do.
They don't need us in the club.
Norman, let's look at something totally different, shall we? In the Mirror today, an estate agent picture has revealed what?
It has revealed that there's a painting which the Nazis nicked from somewhere in Amsterdam during the time they were occupying Holland, which has turned up in this house in Argentina. And, of course, the house was taken by someone running away, a Nazi who ran away from Europe to get to save himself, I suppose, from after the war, and lived there.
Furniture with him.
And, yes, took it with him. And lived there until he died in 1978 in a very nice, comfortable lifestyle, no doubt, instead of being prosecuted for what he did in the Second World War.
The theory is that Hitler went there and, so his death was fabricated and back in Berlin.
Well, I don't believe that, but certainly what we do know is a whole lot of Nazis went to South America, Argentina and Bolivia and places like that.
All right,
and he got away with it.
Let's get into the big Ellie story today.
On front of all the newspapers this morning, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are engaged, Claire.
A huge rock for the Swift star. 8 carats, that's a lot of carats. I wonder if it'll be lab-grown or mined. That's the other big question. But apart from that, apart from the shape of it, I think it's good news that's circulating around that marriage is back. And indeed in the Times, albeit a fifth of couples are marrying only for the legal advantages, which, you know what, if that makes you want to get hitched, I think that's a great thing. And I don't like what Labour are trying to do now through the back door, is introduce greater rights for those that are cohabiting that don't make the step into marriage, because I believe that marriage is a great step for humanity, a great step for society, and indeed it's the cornerstone of society and that of the family and everything else that can grow empirically from that commitment. Are you trying to tell me you don't feel differently after your marriage to
No, I definitely do feel different. Yeah, I feel like a family unit. I think it's a lovely thing, but I probably have more of a romantic idea of marriage than I would.
But that's absolutely
legal
fine.
one.
Absolutely fine. But I wonder what the prenup is, if ever, that Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift will enter into.
Well, she's worth more than he. I mean, they're both obviously hugely successful in their own fields. He's an NFL star. She's a pop sensation, but she's a billionaire. So I imagine there'd be some sort of prenup.
There will be a prenup, I imagine, and these things happen these days, particularly when
it is
unromantic. It is unromantic. I mean, obviously, I got married, so I believe in marriage as a concept. The question really is whether or not it's the role of the state to try and push people into one direction or another. That's probably the issue here.
Yeah. What do you think about, in terms of rights? 1 in 5 adults said they would choose not to marry if cohabiting couples had the same legal rights as married ones. This is the same.
Well, I mean, I think that's if that's true, then that's making people get married who don't necessarily want to get married. I'm not sure that's a good outcome.
OK. Norman, let's have a look at Meghan Markle, shall we, and the things that she hated the most about royal life, and it's not what you might think.
No, well, I mean, look, first of all, let me declare an interest. I'm not particularly a Meghan Markle fan, and I think she's in some ways her own worst enemy. But the story here, which appears in the Times and elsewhere, is that she said she had to wear nude pantyhose all the time. Tights. That's what she called it, nude pantyhose.
Yep.
when she was working member of the royal family. And the issue, I suppose, is to what extent the royal family is able to tell female members of the royal family what they should and shouldn't wear, because they have less control, I think, and less strictures on male members of the royal family. And if you look back to what Diana, I know it's some time ago now, but when Diana married Charles, she was told she had to wear particular things, she had to wear particular colour nail varnish and everything else. And more importantly, perhaps, she should keep quiet. She should keep quiet and just sort of simper away and support her husband, when, of course, Diana was, and indeed Meghan, are individual people with individual thoughts and processes, and perhaps we should accommodate that more. If you look at other European monarchies, this sort of new pantyhose, or whatever it's called...
Just call them tights.
Tights.
I'm using Norman.
All right.
It'll make us all feel far more comfortable.
I'm just using her phrase. But, I mean, it really shouldn't be necessary for someone to tell you what kind of tights you're wearing.
I think this is indicative of how ill-prepared she was for royal life. It is a life of protocol. It's a life of etiquette.
It's a life of service,
strict
Ellie.
rules to follow, yeah, and duty and service. I don't think she was
It's not
prepared
called
for
the
it.
firm for nothing, you know.
Yeah.
That's true, it is. That's
Yeah,
right.
And it's enabled her to have this platform, this raised dais out in Montecito, where she can make ice cubes from rosemary and basil, I'm sure she would call
But does the royal family allow females to be themselves? I'm not sure it does.
I think you look at the Princess of Wales, and she is her own woman, isn't she? And
I think it's
her own
improved a bit.
person, and she has her own.
I'll tell you who the best woman is, apart from the Queen, Princess Anne.
Yes.
Diligent, hard-working, disciplined, holds her own counsel, extremely sharp wit, and she knows what she's doing. I think she's wonderful.
Well, on that tribute, we will say goodbye to you guys. See you again in 45 minutes. Here's your weather update with Honor.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Box Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Some heavy, possibly thundery showers drifting their way eastwards through the course of the morning, and temperatures starting to return more towards average for the time of year, but always feeling warm in the sunshine across the east. A very different story across western areas, though. Some quite heavy and intense downpours slowly drifting their way eastwards, so expect some quite strong gusty winds, some intense outbreaks of rain, and possibly some thunder and lightning as this drifts its way eastwards across the country. So quite a damp start to the day, quite a damp start moving into the afternoon across eastern areas, and feeling quite blustery across the west too, but where we see any sunshine, still feeling fairly warm, highs reaching around 23 degrees Celsius across the southeast. Then to end the day across Scotland, once again, further heavy bands of showers drifting their way through, turning quite blustery around coastal areas as this does so. Once again, another cloudy end to the day across Northern Ireland, but we should start to see some brighter skies drift in from the northwest. Similar across Wales, parts of Devon and Cornwall too. Start to see some sunshine, but still, yes, the risk of the odd shower. But the most intense showers eventually clearing their way across eastern areas. And for a time, it leads to a largely dry night across much of England and Wales. Clearer skies, so it is going to be feeling that little bit cooler than of late. But across the west, once again, further clouds starting to drift their way in, further heavy and intense showers as we head towards dawn across western areas. So a little bit milder still under cloudier skies, but where we see those clearer skies, it is going to feel a little bit of a cooler start to the day compared to what we've had earlier in the week. Once again, through Thursday morning, we're still set to see plenty of showers drift their way in from the west, these turning heavy and blustery at times. The best of the brightness across the very far east and southeast, but even here we could start to see some showers into the afternoon. Temperatures returning to more average for the time of year, highs reaching around 22 to 23 degrees Celsius. Bye-bye.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Box Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. It is 8:10 this morning on the M23 southbound between junctions 8 and 9 in Surrey, where a broken down vehicle is causing disruptions. Drivers should be aware that one of 4 lanes is closed with normal traffic conditions anticipated soon. Also, the M4 westbound at junction 42 near Earlswood is experiencing construction with the entry slip road closed and diversions in place, possibly leading to longer journey times. And on the trains, there is disruption between Watford Junction and London Euston on Avanti West Coast services, while Great Western Railway has arranged taxis to replace trains between Twyford and Henley-on-Thames. Stay informed. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
It's the final week to see how you could win your mortgage or rent paid for a whole year. That's a cash lump sum equivalent to 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, right up to a whopping £20,000. Plus, we'll add an extra £5,000 on top for good measure. Make sure you don't miss out as lines close on the 29th of August. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Have a listen to this. Is this the tough talk Britain has been missing?
If you come to the UK illegally, you will be detained and deported and never, ever allowed to stay. Period.
Nigel Farage outlines Reform UK's plans for mass deportations.
But is pledging to pay terrorists like the Taliban to take back Afghan migrants a step too far? Could Nigel Farage come to regret rhetoric like that?
Well, I was at that press conference yesterday. Very different views on what Nigel Farage has said, but what you can be sure of is he is making the political weather with the government now saying that they are open to some of the things that Nigel Farage is proposing.
Breaking news in the past hour, the energy price cap rises by 2%, meaning millions of households will be paying more for their bills this winter.
Could the government sign yet another deal with the EU? Labour eyes up a new agreement on food and drinks, but will it undermine Brexit?
A love story for the ages. Taylor Swift fans celebrate the pop sensation's engagement to American football pro Travis Kelce. But how long are we all going to have to wait for the wedding?
I can hardly wait. In sport this morning, a few Carabao Cup shocks last night, including Sheffield Wednesday beating Leeds in what was a half-empty Hillsborough. Celtic knocked out of the Champions League before it really gets going, and Rangers have got an uphill task to stay in it tonight. And in cycling news, Ben Turner has won stage 4 of Spain's La Vuelta.
Hello there, good morning. Some heavy and quite intense showers moving their way in from the west. We may even see some thunder and lightning, but stay tuned for all the details.
Hello there, very good morning to you. Wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening, you're very, very welcome. We're here with you until 9:30, and I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast. Now, just a quick bit of housekeeping at 8:02 this morning. Earlier, we were joined by a guest, James Schneider, and we wish to make clear that GB News does not endorse or support the views that he expressed regarding the Daily Mail, the media more broadly, or their ownership. Those remarks were solely his own. So just to make that clear this morning. Now, we're going to be speaking a lot about Nigel Farage's plans for mass deportations this morning. We are going to be speaking to the Conservatives in just a few moments' time. But for now... Oh, he's ready for us now, we're hearing, actually. We're joined now by Conservative Party Chairman Kevin Hollinrake.
Kevin, good morning to you. Nigel Farage, he copied Kemi Badenoch's homework then, did he?
Well, he did, didn't he? I mean, it was only a few months ago. Nigel Farage's plan was to tow all the boats back to France. Now, he suddenly has looked at it and looked at our plans and decided that isn't going to work, as we told him at the time. And the only way he's going to be able to do this is do exactly what we plan to do, which is the detention and deportation of all illegal migrants who come to this country, and indeed foreign national offenders. So yes, very much he's copied Kemi Badenoch's plans.
So what's Kemi going to say or have up her sleeve that he hadn't?
Well, crucially, whilst doing all this, while having plans for this and education, immigration, legal and illegal, and education and house building and many other things, which we've not heard from Reform, crucially, the big difference is we're going to balance the books. And Reform spending plans are totally unaffordable. They would bankrupt this country. That's the reality. We're already spending £130 billion every year more than we're getting in. And what Nigel Farage is committed to do is spend another £120 billion a year on top of that. It's just completely unaffordable. So you need to tackle migration, both legal and illegal migration, but also do it in a way that we don't put the nation's finances at risk.
As part of Nigel Farage's promise to deport 600,000 people, that would involve returns deals with countries like Afghanistan, essentially making deals with the Taliban. Is that something that the Conservative Party would look at as an option?
Well, our way of dealing with this, because we did recognise the problems of sending people back to places like Afghanistan and Iran, and you ideally don't want to be dealing with those regimes. So we had a third country solution, which was Rwanda, which we had to push through Parliament despite the objections of Labour and the Lib Dems and others, and they objected to that 134 times. But still, we got it through. We passed that. Then we had to deal with the courts. We had to overrule the courts in terms of the safety of Rwanda. It is a safe country. So we got all that through using a third country solution rather than sending people back and having to deal with people like the Taliban and the Ayatollah.
Can I ask you about Ofgem and the energy price cap? It's risen by 2%, meaning millions of households are going to be paying more for their energy this winter. What's your reaction to that story?
Well, it's another broken promise by Labour, isn't it? They came into office saying they're going to lower energy prices by £300 a year. What you see in the energy cap is now £200 higher than it was in July last year. And that's because of the madcap plans of Ed Miliband. You know, they just don't make sense. Closing down gas production in the North Sea, importing more gas, on this headlong rush into more solar and more wind, onshore and offshore. And we're not against wind, but there must be a mix between gas, between wind, particularly offshore wind, and nuclear reactors, small modular nuclear reactors, which we were pushing ahead with. So enough of the ideology, Ed. Look at the practical solutions about how we lower energy prices. It is through that mix.
How do you get this ground you've lost to Nigel Farage back? Can you do that? I'm looking at the headline, the front of the Mail today. Finally, a politician who gets it. And that's what people seem to think, Kevin, a reaction that we're getting on the programme today. He's stolen this whole area from you, has he not?
Well, listen, there's no doubt we need to cut through better than we're doing now. That's part of my job as chairman of the party. We'll be working very hard at that. We've got our conference coming up. There'll be some real plans announced there on things like the European Convention on Human Rights, which I know people are eagerly waiting for. But it's not just about rushing out plans and making promises you can't deliver upon. Do you remember the promises Reform made when they took office in May in some of the councils? They said they were going to close down asylum hotels. They haven't done any of that, yet our councils have done that. It's actions, not words. The plans we put together and we announce in the coming weeks will be deliverable. That's Kemi's commitment. It's not rushing out plans because they're politically expedient. It's making sure we can deliver on our promises, working out the solutions and then telling the public about them. We've got to rebuild trust. We did lose some trust. We made mistakes. We can't do that again. That means making sure we think through our plans, make sure they're deliverable, and when we announce them, people will like them.
OK, Kevin Hollinrake.
Conservative Party Chairman Kevin Hollinrake, good talking to you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Well, listening across to that is GB News political correspondent Katherine Forster. What did you make of what Kevin Hollinrake had to say? Because the Tories are accusing Nigel Farage of copying their homework.
Well, I think to some extent that's true, in that they, with the Rwanda plan, said that if you arrived, you would be detained, you would be deported to Rwanda, you wouldn't be able to claim asylum and you wouldn't be coming back. But Nigel Farage is going very, very much further than that, because he's not at all squeamish. He's saying that you'll go back to where you came from, even that if it's a country like Eritrea or Afghanistan, they're open to doing deals with the Taliban. Now, the Telegraph are reporting this morning that the Taliban say that they're open to that, and they wouldn't even charge. They might take money towards aid,
rubbing
and
their
that
hands together.
People will be treated with dignity. Of course, I think we all know what sort of regime the Taliban is. But it's interesting that no sooner had Nigel Farage given this press conference, there was a lobby briefing with journalists. The Prime Minister's official spokesman would not rule out the Labour government doing similar. And I think what Nigel Farage is doing, he is making the political weather. The conversation has shifted, and shifted very dramatically. I think for all that there will be people horrified by what Reform say they're prepared to do in terms of sending people back to dangerous countries. There'll be so many people saying this is what we need to do. Nigel Farage's message is we have to put British people first.
And that is very much what our audience is identifying with today, Katherine. You were there yesterday, you were in that aircraft hangar in Oxfordshire. What was that whole atmosphere like, that massive Union Jack drape behind him, the atmosphere in the room? How did you feel?
It was incredible. You went into this massive hangar. There's what they say probably the biggest British flag, 18 metres wide, 9 metres deep. They had these display boards on either side, like if you were in an airport with departures, departures to Eritrea, Afghanistan, boarding. I mean, a very clever visual way. And Nigel Farage, press conference, long speech, lots of interesting lines in it from him and from Zia Youssef, and then a long press conference with lots of questions to the press, something you tend not to get so much from the Prime Minister.
And your question, a fantastic question, was retweeted not only by Rupert Lowe, but also by Elon Musk. Tell us about that and what happened.
Yes, 7 million views at the moment. So I was interested in what has been a shift in Reform's position, because Nigel Farage told GB News last September that it was politically impossible to be deporting hundreds of thousands of people. So I asked him what had changed, and now he blamed Rupert Lowe, the former Reform MP. They've spectacularly fallen out. Rupert Lowe retweeted that about his desire for deportations of people involved in the rape gangs. And Elon Musk retweeted him and said, unfortunately, the reality is that Farage will do nothing to protect Britain. That is obvious. So a spectacular falling out. But I think it's interesting because that row about the rape gangs sort of took light in January. This was a comment that he'd made last September. Now, what's happened since then is Donald Trump has come in the States, and he has managed to get people coming into his country down enormously, and he has also deported large numbers of people. So Zia Youssef, who's been working on this, they have clearly looked across the pond at what is happening there and seen that it can be done. But it would be incredibly difficult, incredibly expensive, and also, you know, they're saying they're going to deport everybody that's come here illegally. Many of those people will have come on visas, they will have overstayed, they may now have families. Would the reality of that, if it actually happened, be as popular as the stopping of the boats? The stopping of the boats, I think, clearly would be.
OK, Katherine, thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed, Katherine. Your say, very welcome, and we'll reflect those during the programme. Some other stories coming into the newsroom on this Wednesday morning. Breaking, the energy regulator Ofgem has announced the price cap will rise by 2%. That's from October. That'll be a rise of around £2.93 per month for the average household.
An Ethiopian national seeking asylum in the UK is set to appear in court for the second day. Hadush Kabatu is charged with 3 counts of sexual violence, harassment and inciting a girl to engage in sexual activity. He was living in the Bell Hotel in Epping at the time of the alleged crimes.
Taylor Swift fans right across the world are celebrating her engagement to the American football player Travis Kelce. The couple posted pictures confirming the news yesterday evening, and even the American President Donald Trump had warm words.
Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are engaged, and the world wants your reaction, sir.
Well, I wish him a lot of luck.
Oh.
I think he's a great player. I think he's a great guy, and I think that she's a terrific person. So I wish them a lot of luck.
And the weather, very much on the change, I would say.
Yep, it looks to be raining all this week after a lovely bank holiday weekend. Let's get all the details with Anna.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Some heavy, possibly thundery showers drifting their way eastwards through the course of the morning, and temperatures starting to return more towards average for the time of year, but always feeling warm in the sunshine across the east. A very different story across western areas, though. Some quite heavy and intense downpours slowly drifting their way eastwards, so expect some quite strong gusty winds, some intense outbreaks of rain, and possibly some thunder and lightning as this drifts its way eastwards across the country. So quite a damp start to the day, quite a damp start moving into the afternoon across eastern areas, and feeling quite blustery across the west too, but where we see any sunshine, still feeling fairly warm, highs reaching around 23 degrees Celsius across the southeast. Then to end the day across Scotland, once again, further heavy bands of showers drifting their way through, turning quite blustery around coastal areas as this does so. Once again, another cloudy end to the day across Northern Ireland, but we should start to see some brighter skies drift in from the northwest. Similar across Wales, parts of Devon and Cornwall too. Start to see some sunshine, but still, yes, the risk of the odd shower. But the most intense showers eventually clearing their way across eastern areas. And for a time, it leads to a largely dry night across much of England and Wales. Clearer skies, so it is going to be feeling that little bit cooler than of late. But across the west, once again, further clouds starting to drift their way in, further heavy and intense showers as we head towards dawn across western areas. So a little bit milder still under cloudier skies, but where we see those clearer skies, it is going to feel a little bit of a cooler start to the day compared to what we've had earlier in the week. Once again, through Thursday morning, we're still set to see plenty of showers drift their way in from the west, these turning heavy and blustery at times. The best of the brightness across the very far east and southeast, but even here we could start to see some showers into the afternoon. Temperatures returning to more average for the time of year, highs reaching around 22 to 23 degrees Celsius. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
And it is the final week to see how you could live the next year, mortgage or rent free.
Yep, an additional £5,000 in your bank account. And if you don't have those payments to make each month, you could end up with £15,000 in tax-free cash. Instead, here are all of the details that you need.
There's just 2 days left to see how you could win your mortgage or rent paid for a whole year. That's a cash lump sum equivalent to 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, right up to a whopping £20,000. Plus, we'll add an extra £5,000 on top for good measure. And if you don't have a mortgage or rent to pay, lucky you, we'll give you £15,000 tax-free cash instead. Hurry, lines close this Friday. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, good luck. Now, do stay with us. Still to come, we are all going to be paying more for our bills this autumn. There's been a rise in the energy price cap, so we're going to be meeting a small business owner who is bracing for the increasing cost of running their hair salon. That's next.
Five hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racist tonight on the
unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace to Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Britain's Newsroom, weekday mornings from 9:30.
Ministers are preparing the biggest shake-up of driving rules for 2 decades, and drivers over the age of 70 would be banned from the roads if they fail compulsory eye tests.
Changes are expected to be included in a new road safety strategy document to be published in the autumn.
And we found this short clip of your driving test, Andrew.
The way he's taking that corner is going down on record, and it'll be one of the things on which his driving ability will be assessed.
How rude.
Well, actually, it's quite funny, actually. I passed my driving test in a pea green Volkswagen Beetle.
Wow.
I did. Second time.
I've passed 3rd time, so...
Third?
Yeah.
But in those days, I mean, the road safety test was literally the driving instructor fired 5 or 6 questions at you at the end.
Yeah.
That was it.
As long as you hadn't crashed, you were through.
Yeah, you were through. So,
those were the days.
They were. But let's talk to the motoring journalist, Quentin Wilson, who's very well known to this programme.
It was always a 2 wheels good, 4 wheels bad mantra, and only now are they begin to see that the electorate is really worried about not just the condition of our roads, but the people driving on them and their skills as well. So this idea that we've got to have driving a sight test for people over 70. Why would you not do this? I mean, it's blindly, if you'll pardon the pun, simple. You people who can't see in a car from driving, and anybody who objects to that is really, really sort of selfish. Then you've got to look at driving standards. You know, I've been campaigning for kids to be taught at school hazard perception and things like that, and just increase the ability, the skills of our driving population, because you see all these stats now, and they're going up and up and up.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
So gas and electricity bills only up from October. The energy regulator, Ofgem, has announced the price cap will rise by 2% from then, and that means a rise. How much are they calculating?
It's £2.93 per month for the average household. So the Energy Minister, Michael Shanks, has been responding to the news this morning.
Any rise in prices is obviously a concern for households and for businesses, but the truth is that the price of gas is still 75% higher than it was before the invasion of Ukraine, and we're still paying the price for that. That's the fossil fuel penalty of us being tied as a country far too closely to gas prices, and that's why as a government we're driving forward as fast as possible to remove that volatility of gas and to deliver clean, homegrown, secure power that will bring down bills, but also make sure that we're delivering on our energy security.
OK, that's the Energy Minister, but what about all this in reality? Somewhere that uses a lot of electricity is a hair salon, right? So we're going to Sophie Reaper this morning, who's in a hair salon, not getting the hair done, but to ask a few questions and things there. And you're with the salon owner, and that's April Horner there. And Sophie, so what difference is this going to make to what April actually has to do?
Well, what's really interesting, Eamonn, good morning to you both, is that the energy price cap actually doesn't bring in businesses. It's more to do with households. But what it does mean is, as our energy price cap goes up, that also increases the price of wholesale gas. And that means energy costs for businesses like April's are also going up. Now, April, talk to me about the kind of impact this has on you. Eamonn just mentioned there that you use a lot of electricity here in the hair salon. So talk to me a bit about that and any price increases you've noticed recently.
Yeah, I mean, I think as a salon as a whole, we're sort of an industry that can use less electric and gas. We have to use it. It's not like we can cut down on it. I mean, what's quite interesting is I did a percent yesterday when I found out I was obviously coming on the show, and I didn't realise my gas and electric had actually gone up by 83% in 6 years, which is quite shocking, really. Obviously, we know that our electric and gas goes up, but when we actually sit down and work it out, not realising the 83% and that how much that impacts me, and I have to sort of take on that cost. Now, I know the percentage isn't going up a lot for, obviously, households, but that's going to obviously affect us because people aren't going to want to probably come in as much, you know. I know it's probably only, £30-40 a year, but that's a cut and blow dry. So exactly. Are they going to have one less cut and blow dry a year? Are they going to have one less, you know, the nails done? Or even we have a beautician that does sort of like the massage side. Now that's a luxury, that's not a need. So are you cutting out that luxury now?
And obviously that has a knock-on on you, doesn't it? Because you're the owner of this salon, so you've got to think about wages, you've got to think about national insurance, you've got to think about VAT, all the prices of your products even. So what is the knock-on effect?
I mean, for me, most of the girls are self-employed. Okay. So, but the problem is that I feel like I can't put their rent up, so then I'm personally sort of taking on that cost, which 83% in 6 years is a massive, massive cost. And also, if they're getting less and less busy, they're going to be less likely to stay. So I could lose, you know, my income in that sense as well. So it is having a massive, massive knock-on effect in that sense too.
And just in terms of, you said earlier that, you know, you can't use any less electricity. Talk to us a bit about how much you might use in a day, like the kind of things in a, not in terms of figures, but for example, the lamps, for example. Just talk to us a bit about what you use. Obviously, even just heating the water that goes into these sinks. People might not think, Ellie and Eamonn, about how much electricity and gas is used, but just talk to us a bit about some of the different things that our viewers might not have considered.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, like heating up the water. I mean, once we had the gas went off, and that obviously had a massive knock-on effect. You forget that the gas does heat and every client we are using.
Yeah, you don't want to have your hair washed with cold water, do you?
Exactly. Aircon in the summer, heating in the winter. Obviously, when I come in this salon, being such an old building, it is absolutely freezing, and you don't want to sit here and have your hair cut when you're freezing. Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously you've got your straighteners, your hairdryer, your usual things, your nail lamp, but even like so far as the beautician, she needs to heat the room. So yeah.
There's so many things for you to think about, of course, April. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Just one kind of business being affected, of course, this is across the board. Both households and businesses will be affected by energy going up, and we're going to be speaking to businesses throughout the day.
Okay, Sophie, April, thank you for bringing that to us.
Get a blow dry while you're there, Sophie. Enjoy yourself. Yeah, very nice. Thank you very much indeed. So there you are, just the complications that these energy price rises will have on everyday things that we all use and how it affects prices.
Yeah, it certainly does. Now, if you're travelling to the hairdressers this morning, here's your traffic and travel update.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com.
Motorists face disruptions on the M8 eastbound at junction 19 due to a broken down vehicle, so extra travel time is recommended. The M4 westbound at junction 42 in Earlswood has construction closing the entry slip road, with diversions for smooth flow. A lane is closed on the M25 anti-clockwise between junctions 29 and 28 in Greater London due to a broken down vehicle. Lane closures are on the M20 eastbound entry slip at junction 4 in Kent. And on the trains, disruptions are reported on Avanti West Coast services between Watford Junction and London Euston. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Now do stay with us. Still to come, we're off to Spain to hear about the Briton who's claimed his first ever Grand Tour stage win at the Vuelta a España. I hope I've said that right. That's next on GB News Breakfast.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk then? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes and Kerr weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
It's sports time. Paul Coit is here with us. Morning.
Good morning. The Carabao Cup.
Yeah.
The League Cup.
Yeah. Well, you know, and it doesn't matter what cup it is. It's a cup tie between Yorkshire rivals Sheffield Wednesday and Leeds.
It's a huge game, really.
A huge game. Sheffield Wednesday have got nothing, and they're looking to get some brownie points on the board, and they did it last night.
Yeah, and it was I don't think anybody really expected it. It was at Hillsborough, so they're playing Leeds. Leeds are in the Premier League, who haven't had a great start either. But Sheffield Wednesday, we've spoken about a few
You could
times.
hardly put 11 players out on the pitch.
Well, this is amazing. And they were kids. A lot of them were very inexperienced. The thing is, a lot of them, they didn't want to go to extra time because they had to be in school the next day, so for crying out loud. But it did go to penalties, and it was 1-1, and Sheffield Wednesday won. Now, if you look in the background, for those that are watching on the TV...
Empty.
You can see there were empty stands. There were 2 empty stands at Hillsborough, which is very unlikely because Sheffield is most... I don't want to cause problems here, but I believe this to be the case. In Sheffield, most people from Sheffield will support Wednesday. There is a huge fan base for Sheffield Wednesday, but the club is falling and collapsing because of the owner. They're looking to sell it. So there were 2 stands, 2 whole stands, fans just did not go to because they wanted to protest. But
so instead of hanging out of those stands...
I know. It is. That's the sad thing, though, isn't it? If you want to see a game and you want some excitement and you want to see your team win, a little light relief, because that's what football is all about. They end up beating Leeds, but unfortunately, a lot of the fans weren't there to see it. But they've tried to make a point, and I hope something.
Just out of curiosity, do you happen to know if it was on the telly last night?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was on.
Well, that's what they considered home watch it, you see, as well.
Well, that's it. The fans, if you've decided...
It's not the same.
We're not... Yeah, but if you're going to make a point...
they're making a point.
At least they can... It's not like we can't see it.
Yeah.
So it was on TV last night. And the other game, which is on TV tonight... Grimsby.
The big game.
Grimsby Town versus Manchester United at the Carabao Cup.
Anything could happen.
Who knows how it's going to go? This is why you always get TV companies going, we'll have that one.
Yeah.
Because something could happen. So...
Yeah.
Can you imagine if Manchester United lose tonight?
Oh, don't even
think
start.
about it.
The season's bad enough.
Don't even think about it for now. And then the draw for the next round of the Carabao Cup, when all the teams playing in Europe will then go into the competition.
Now, the other game played last night was a humdinger, Wolves and West Ham.
Yeah, and there was trouble there because, again, West Ham, although so early on in the season, they look like they're in trouble. And there were arguments. They lost to Wolves last night. It wasn't Molineux. They were 2-1 up, and then Wolves turned it around and scored 2 goals. And the West Ham fans were upset. They're shouting at the team. And Jared Bowen hits back at the fans. He's since put out an apology about this, because it doesn't help anybody, but obviously there's tensions and there's emotions, and that's what happened. So he's done the right thing and said, look, fans, we need to stick together, all that stuff, but it's not a good time at West Ham.
But, you know, Molineux, compared to West Ham's ground, Molineux's a real football ground. West Ham's a massive arena, could be athletics arena, whatever. Stadium. And it's a very nice ground. That is very...
Molineux?
Yeah.
It's a nice ground.
Can we talk about Vuelta a España?
Vuelta a España.
Sí.
So you've got your Tour de France, you've got the Giro d'Italia.
The Italian one,
And the Vuelta a España, which is going on at the moment. Let's have a look at this, shall we? The Spanish Grand Tour, so it's all around Spain, so you get the idea. It's challenging climbs and passionate fans.
There's so many of them.
So many. How, if you were in the middle of that, would you even have any expectation that you were going to win?
Well, they call that the peloton, you see. The peloton is the group, and then eventually you get people breaking away. He looks quite happy. But Ben Turner, British chap of Ineos Grenadiers, he won the sprint finish yesterday, stage 4. He wasn't even supposed to be in it. It was only a last-minute pick because of illness. Got called up at the last minute as a replacement, goes in, wins stage 4. Very emotional for him, so well done to him.
Well done, brilliant.
Turner,
very good.
Ineos Grenadiers. Right, time for a few birthdays. Come on then. Right, a few birthdays, haven't done it all week. Sporting birthdays, first one is... Can we have our first one, please? It's Big Ange.
Big Ange.
Ange Postecoglou.
Right.
How old is Ange?
I would say Big Ange is younger than he looks.
So what do you think he looks?
I think he could be 60, but I think he's probably 50, 52, 53.
OK. What do you think?
I was going to say he's the big 6-0 today.
Could be. He looks it.
He is. Big 6-0.
Is he?
See, do I give it to you? I give it to Ellie. Give it to Ellie.
No, look at Ellie.
60 today, Ange Postecoglou. Happy birthday, Ange. Right, next one.
I think he'll be back in the Premier League.
Oh, he will. I have a funny feeling Nottingham Forest will be the next place he'll be, but we'll have to see. Brilliant. Anyway, let's John Lloyd. John Lloyd He was our great tennis player, wasn't he, in the 70s?
And his brother.
Yeah, there was David Lloyd as well.
Lloyd,
but you know, do you remember? But he married Chris Evert.
He did.
They were the Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift of their day. We got a picture of them together.
Yeah.
What a love! Look at that, the beautiful.
Oh, wow! What couple?
Blonde and beautiful.
And it all went wrong. But anyway,
So he was playing in the 70s.
In the 70s, yeah.
Right. So I'm going to say he is 77.
77.
I'd say he's 72.
Good guess. 71.
71.
Very
close.
good.
Very close.
Two more. Let's go for two more. Sporting birthdays. That's Bernhard Langer. You know, great German golfer.
Great player.
Very well on the senior tour these days.
Yeah.
Famous in the
I'd say similar. I'd say about 73.
73 for Bernhard?
Well, you say with golfers that they look older than they actually are.
He's probably an exception to the rule.
Oh, right. That's not very helpful.
He's an exception to the rule. But he is playing on this. Eamonn is in the ballpark.
68.
Oh,
68.
Much younger than I would have thought.
68.
Yeah, you should let us go with the rule.
Right, one more then. Let's go one more. Legendary athlete. There she is, Denise Lewis.
What a star.
Gold medal Olympic.
Denise.
Athlete.
That's a hard one.
Denise. 46.
46.
Well,
was it Beijing?
I'd say Denise. Oof, that's a difficult one. 52.
Oh, very good. 53.
Oh!
Good.
Very
I'm going to give you that because
close.
there were two that were just a year out. So very good. And your Ange spot on with 60.
And spot on. We'll go 1-1, I think.
But she looks well.
She does it well. Yeah, she does. She looks great. Now,
OK, Mr. Paul, thankful very much indeed.
Thank you.
Hope that kept you entertained. Hope you did better than we did.
Now, do stay with us. Still to come. Have you ever had a Colin the Caterpillar cake? Well, it's that beloved birthday cake. I get one every single year. Do you know? I always request one.
Do you?
Yeah, but it's had an icy makeover.
Ice cream. I love ice cream. I could live on ice cream. I could live then on Colin the Caterpillar.
You could now. You're going to be in for a treat.
Are we going to get sampling it?
We could get a sample in the studio next. You have to wait and see. That and much more with Norman Baker and Claire Moulding going through the papers with us in just a few minutes.
Lovely. OK, look forward to it, guys. See you then.
That's after Europe.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean All Clear Skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Northern parts of Europe are set to see widespread heavy showers. This could lead to some severe thunderstorms at times. But across Spain, Portugal, the Azores, the sunshine is here to stay. But it's really across parts of France, Germany, as we head towards Switzerland and Austria. Northern parts of Italy, we could see these quite intense showers. So thunderstorms, frequent lightning and also some large hail. But elsewhere across the Adriatic coastline, across parts of Greece, the sunshine once again here to stay, along with the warm temperatures.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
And it's time, of course. I'm joined today by Hollyoaks star Kara Jansen, who found herself in a legal nightmare after her children were unlawfully detained in Sweden by her ex-husband and had to go to the Hague Convention to get them home. It's a very shocking story: international custody battles, legal loopholes, and a warning for any parent in a global relationship. I'm pleased to say that actress Kara Jansen and also your mum is Debbie Arnold, very famous lady, joins us now. So, Kara, God, this is a story. Start from the beginning.
Oh, it's been a very, very difficult time for everybody, you know. But, yeah, like you said, we found ourselves in a very difficult situation where we were faced with a legal battle trying to get the kids from Sweden back to the UK. From the very beginning, I just thought he was being truthful to me. Of course, you do. You think, I love this person, I trust this person, of course I'm going to absolutely do this. But as it turns out, I think unfortunately, it was a plan, and that's why we found ourselves in the situation we were in. And it kind of unravelled before my eyes. You know, it was very.
Well, what happened? So as it unravelled, what was the first thing that unravelled?
Well, you sort of found out because we moved over to Sweden for this trial period on the basis of, you know, all these promises, and it was. Of course, you then kind of put your kids in school there because you're trying it out, and then, you know, you add them to the medical system, and they're suddenly ingrained in the system there. And then when it all kind of breaks down, you realise, like, actually, that's a very, very difficult thing to come out of. And it was obviously a premeditated decision, you know, to get everything over in Sweden, because then it's near enough impossible to get out.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off-limits.
You had the power then. Yeah, as I
and now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Oh, yes.
I've got a treat for you.
Yeah, Claire Muldoon just come in for this bit, and Norman Baker. So we have a friend, yeah?
We do. Colin. You'll be very familiar with Colin. He's at birthday parties all around Britain.
But he's not what you may think he is. He's not what he seems.
He's a frozen edition. You can see he's melting. It's an ice cream Colin the Caterpillar cake, which has come out in Marks and Spencer's.
I think we'll have to test that.
I think we will. Let's give it a go, shall we?
Test that. So you do the honours there.
Do you want to do it with me? And we can make a wish.
No. You do that. You go work away at that. Well, I talk to you guys because.
Oh wow,
Claire, there's a story today in the Daily Star about chocolate bars being tuneful. Tell us more.
So, a university professor at Bristol has come up with a design of music commissioned by a couple of chocolate companies. And apparently there is music that they're called the sweetest melody that will enhance the flavour of chocolate, enhance the flavour of eating. And if this actually goes the way that they think it might, then you should be playing music to the...
Does it tell you what type of music you should be playing?
The sweetest, kindest, soulful piece of...
Claire, he just ate your foot. I'll give you another foot. Oh,
no, you're
touched
fine.
it.
Absolutely fine.
Norman, pass me a plate.
OK. I would just say that if you go back far enough, the advert that I remember was tunes help you breathe more easily.
Yeah.
So that was James Nottingham.
Yes, it maybe relates to that. But I noticed on Claire's story on the in the Star, chocolate bar so tuneful. Next to it is thank you very much, is a headline saying, I hate marathons, which is Mo Farah. But apparently he's not talking about Snickers bars, he's talking about running.
Maybe we're all eating too many chocolate bars.
Well, yeah.
I'm not going for a run.
Right, yeah, because Snickers bars used to be called Marathon.
They did.
Yeah.
They did.
Much better name.
That was that.
Right, should we give this a go?
Let's give the other one got a piece,
I will say, quite difficult to cut, because obviously it's frozen. But we got there in the end.
I wonder why they made it all chocolate inside. Chocolate ice cream.
Well, there's a layer of sponge as well. But I feel as if I'm on the Great British Bake Off.
It's chocolate sponge, a kind of frozen chocolate sauce, which is really good, and chocolate ice cream. Can you see that?
Well, there's no soggy bottom.
There's no soggy bottom. And then it's lovely. What do you think, Eamonn? You don't like chocolatey
I'm not a chocolate ice cream or chocolate fan in many ways, but it's seductive.
That works.
Norman?
It's very nice, a bit of a unusual breakfast.
Yes, we were hoping you'd get on board, Norman. We weren't sure. The jury was out whether you'd get involved.
Why? Of course, I love chocolate ice
We
cream.
thought it might be a bit early for you.
I've been up for about 4 or 5 hours. So.
Well, yes. This is our lunchtime, you see.
I could have ice cream for breakfast.
So could I.
Well, you are.
Oh, you see, I don't know what Scotland's like, but people think, potatoes are the national dish in Northern Ireland. But it's not, it's ice cream.
Or an Ulster fry.
It's 99.
No, be the same in Scotland, where we have all these Italian families like the Rossies and yeah, and they came over to work in the churches, to carve the woodwork in the churches
in
Ireland and Belfast and Liverpool and Newcastle. And then they stayed, when all that work was done, they stayed and they opened up cafes.
For our benefit, with the delicious food.
Yeah,
They're still enjoying
over.
the fruits of their labour. Very good. Claire, let's have a look at something quite serious, shall we, actually? They've got us all talking this morning. This is in the Mail this morning. 1 in 3 parents wish to teach their children at home.
What, are they mad?
Exactly, Eamonn. I mean, they must be absolutely out of the tree, and I don't want a society taught by people who are completely mad like that.
I think this is wrong.
But the reasons why they want to do it is they don't want their precious little child exposed to potential bullies. They don't want their child exposed to a teacher who might want to focus on 30 kids instead of the one child, i.e. theirs.
But they'll be open to bullying anyway online.
Sorry?
The bullying will happen online anyway.
Yeah, it's no escaping it.
But that aside, I mean, if you are bullied or if anything does come toward, then you build resilience from that. You build social skills in order to cope with life.
Yes. And the social skills is a really important thing to talk about, Claire, because in the last paper review, we were talking about your story, Norman, about children making friends with AI and their chatbots rather than real friends. Well, this is exactly what's going to happen.
Well, this is the other side of a poisoned coin, because you're going to have kids not interacting with other kids, according to this story here, and they're going to make friends with some sort of non-entity, which is an AI entity. I mean, where's that going to leave them in life?
Yeah, it doesn't prepare them for the real world.
So your nightmare, Ellie, is that, you know, these children will be home. This is a huge amount of people. 2 in 3, is that right?
1 in 3.
1 in 3. Parents want to teach their children at home. Think of all those kids taken out of the mix and the socialisation of school and whatever, and being at home. And it will be AI they turn to.
Yeah, well, all they'll have at home is tablets. I mean, they'll be lucky if they've got siblings, they'll be able to socialise with their siblings. But with tablets and devices.
With a team, right?
How can they?
No.
And actually, how are they going to be educated at home? Who's going to educate them? The parents who are at work?
And then the burden onto the local authority to make sure these children are following the curriculum, then to enter them into education. I think this is a diabolical idea, and I hope those 1 in 3 parents, either 1, stop having children, or 2, are not allowed to do this.
I know bullying and maybe the fear of bullying is an awful thing. It's awful if it's happening to some child in particular. But I have to say, and this will not be popular, not go down well, but you just learn to hit them harder than they hit you.
Metaphorically, and maybe perhaps literally as well, but you're so on the money, OK? No one wants a bullied child for whatever reason. Too fat, too thin, gay, whatever, thick. Well, you know, there's sort of a myriad of reasons why kids are bullied. Kids can be really, really cruel, you know? But you still, I think you just have to go through it. And, you know, you can learn so much about yourself and about going forward into the workplace if you go on to do an apprenticeship.
What parent would find the time? What parent would actually have the time during the day to do this?
All the skills, actually.
Yeah, actually, what kind of education is being provided at home is the other question.
All the skills,
And I know parents are the primary educators, and I've got a huge, you know, thing about parents educating your children properly. But the reason we hand them over to schools at the start of every academic year and term is because they are the professionals that can then extend that education professionally in the ways that parents just can't.
No, and then we get to another weird sort of AI situation, CV writing. So apparently the fraud with this has surged for if you're job hunting, but well, why is that necessarily a bad thing? Why is that not just doing?
Because what it's doing, Eamonn, is it's harvesting details. It's preying on young graduates that are coming out, and we know that the graduate jobs have halved in terms of what's out there since 2022. There is a dearth of them. It's made it such a competitive sphere of society in order for these kids that have got got degrees to actually find jobs. And these accounts are springing up. They're preying on the vulnerable because probably a lot of these kids that have just come out of university have used some form of AI, chat, GPT, to work an academic essay. So they'll be thinking that's the next progressive thing to move on to, when it's not. It really isn't.
Norman, what do you make of this?
Well, I think the development of ChatGPT GDP and everything. GPT.
GPT.
Chocolate in there. All these things are making it easier to be dishonest, actually. That's what it comes down to. Easier to get away with things and to misrepresent yourself.
I think you should bring back more face-to-face interviews, actually, because I think a lot of this stuff that's done online, and we were covering this a couple of years ago about police being recruited, and often they will not get to see a human being until they meet to get measured up for their uniform.
And you can't cut corners or swerve things if you're face to face, can you?
No, you can't, but you just get such a better feel for people when you meet them. Yeah, I mean, I think we really need to move back to that.
The problem is with applications, actually, is that the whole lot of sifting takes place before anyone sees anybody else.
Well, actually, AI is being used to do the sifting now.
And, of course, people play the game, and they get through the system totally unsuitable for the job because they know which buttons to press.
Norman, tell us, is this a genuine fear that we could get a locust plague in the country?
Well, if you believe the Daily Star, it's a genuine fear, I suppose. What they're saying is that we could be invaded by a plague of plant-munching Egyptian locusts, experts say.
Sounds biblical, doesn't it?
This is because of climate change, moving where people and animals, well, animals anyway, tend to be, and they're moving north. So we could end up with locusts in this country, according to the Daily Star.
Oh, dear. Well, I hope not.
Well, I hope not, too.
Fingers crossed. Right, Norman, this wouldn't be a paper review without a train story.
No, absolutely. Thank you very much.
Tell us about Ashford International. I didn't realise it closed.
Oh, this is an example of how we plan so badly in transport in this country. £80 million was spent on Ashford International Station as a Kent stop on Eurostar. It's been shut since COVID. There's no sign of a reopening. Some local MPs sensibly want it reopened. And people in Kent, and I might say in Sussex, and I'm going to use Eurostar on Sunday, actually, have to go to London to St Pancras to get a train. So if you live in Ashford, you have to go to St Pancras and then come back again through Ashford without the train stopping. We've got Ashford, we've got Ebbsfleet, we've got Stratford International, 3 stations on Eurostar line, none of which are used. What a waste of money that is.
Claire, what do you think?
Well, it is a waste of money, but I thought as well Ashford was the gateway to the Channel Tunnel. Was that not the case?
Well, it's a gateway, I think, if you've got a car and you're putting your car on somewhere, but it's not... It's
still used to a certain extent.
Yeah, but you can't board a passenger train there to Europe. OK. Guys, really appreciate it. Enjoyed your company this morning. Claire and Norman, thank you both very much indeed.
Hope you enjoyed your cake as well, you too.
Thank you
very much. Let's get a check on the weather now with Honor.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Some heavy, possibly thundery showers drifting their way eastwards through the course of the morning, and temperatures starting to return more towards average for the time of year, but always feeling warm in the sunshine across the east. A very different story across western areas, though. Some quite heavy and intense downpours slowly drifting their way eastwards, so expect some quite strong gusty winds, some intense outbreaks of rain, and possibly some thunder and lightning as this drifts its way eastwards across the country. So quite a damp start to the day, quite a damp start moving into the afternoon across eastern areas, and feeling quite blustery across the west too, but where we see any sunshine, still feeling fairly warm, highs reaching around 23 degrees Celsius across the southeast. Then to end the day across Scotland, once again, further heavy bands of showers drifting their way through, turning quite blustery around coastal areas as this does so. Once again, another cloudy end to the day across Northern Ireland, but we should start to see some brighter skies drift in from the northwest. Similar across Wales, parts of Devon and Cornwall too. Start to see some sunshine, but still, yes, the risk of the odd shower. But the most intense showers eventually clearing their way across eastern areas. And for a time, it leads to a largely dry night across much of England and Wales. Clearer skies, so it is going to be feeling that little bit cooler than of late. But across the west, once again, further clouds starting to drift their way in, further heavy and intense showers as we head towards dawn across western areas. So a little bit milder still under cloudier skies, but where we see those clearer skies, it is going to feel a little bit of a cooler start to the day compared to what we've had earlier in the week. Once again, through Thursday morning, we're still set to see plenty of showers drift their way in from the west, these turning heavy and blustery at times. The best of the brightness across the very far east and southeast, but even here we could start to see some showers into the afternoon. Temperatures returning to more average for the time of year, highs reaching around 22 to 23 degrees Celsius. Bye-bye.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M77 southbound at Junction 3 faces delays due to a broken down vehicle. Drivers should proceed cautiously and allow extra journey time. Meanwhile, the M4 westbound at Junction 42 in Earlswood has the entry slip road closed for maintenance with diversions in place. On the M60, motorists should note a broken down vehicle on the clockwise exit slip at Junction 26, closing one lane. In Kent, the M20 eastbound entry slip at Junction 10A has all lanes temporarily closed due to a vehicle issue. And on the trains, Avanti West Coast is experiencing disruptions between Watford Junction and London Euston. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
It's the final week to see how you could win your mortgage or rent paid for a whole year. That's a cash lump sum equivalent to 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, right up to a whopping £20,000. Plus, we'll add an extra £5,000 on top for good measure. Make sure you don't miss out as lines close on the 29th of August. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Breaking news, millions of households will pay more for their energy bills this winter.
The regulator Ofgem increases the price cap by 2%.
In a more than expected jump that could leave you paying more for your energy.
Now, is this what you're going to see? The tough talk Britain has been missing.
If you come to the UK illegally, you will be detained and deported and never, ever allowed to stay. Period.
That's Nigel Farage outlining Reform UK's plans for mass deportations, but is pledging to pay terrorists like the Taliban to take back Afghan migrants a step too far.
You've been airing your views on that this morning. Conservative Party Chairman Kevin Hollinrake even says Reform are copying Conservative plans.
The only way he's going to be able to do this is do exactly what we plan to do, which is the detention and deportation of all illegal migrants. So yes, very much he's copied Kemi Badenoch's plans.
Copying the Conservatives' plans, but going much, much further, saying they will deport hundreds of thousands of people already in the country. Whatever you think of the plans, Nigel Farage is making the political weather at the moment.
Could the government sign yet another deal with the EU? Well, Labour are eyeing up a new agreement on food and drinks, but will it undermine Brexit?
A love story for the ages. Taylor Swift fans celebrating the pop sensation's engagement to American football pro Travis Kelce. But how long will they have to wait for the wedding?
Hello there, good morning. Some heavy and quite intense showers moving their way in from the west. We may even see some thunder and lightning, but stay tuned for all the details.
Hello there, very good morning to you. Nice to have you on board. We're with you until 9:30. Eamonn Holmes.
Ellie Costello. This is GB News Breakfast. And to our top story this morning, the Taliban say they are ready and willing to work with Reform UK leader Nigel Farage to deport Afghan migrants.
Now, this comes after he pledged to deport 600,000 migrants if he wins the next election. Have a listen to a sample of what he said.
If you come to the UK illegally, you will be detained and deported and never, ever allowed to stay, period.
Well, in response, Downing Street said they won't rule out a returns agreement with Afghanistan, but the Taliban says it's particularly open to working with Nigel Farage. Well, joining us now is GB News political correspondent Katherine Forster, and that's not an endorsement you want particularly, is it, Katherine?
Well, no, it's not. But Nigel Farage's argument is, look, we've got to stop these boat crossings. They're up 50% this year on where they were last year. And the only way to do that, I was at the conference yesterday, said the only way we'll stop the boats is by detaining and deporting. He says if you do that, you put people in camps in remote parts of the country where they are not free to roam around in the community. You give them basic food and accommodation. He says that the boats will stop within days. They are open to sending people back to wherever they came from, even if that is a horrific regime like the Taliban in Afghanistan, even open to paying them. The Telegraph are reporting today that the Taliban are saying that they're open to that, that they'll treat people with dignity. I think we could take that with a pinch of salt. But Farage's argument is fundamentally it's time to put the British people first. And he said yesterday, whose side are you on? Women and children being safe on the streets, or, you know, international lawyers and so on.
OK, Katherine, thank you very much indeed. Just interrupt you there because we were talking about that cheaper deal for food stuff and what it means. Sorry, I interrupted you ahead of the game because apparently the minister's not there. So, sorry, you were saying...
Can't remember what I was saying. Yes, he's saying we've got to put the British people first. There will be people horrified about what they are proposing. There were lots of questions from journalists about how would you feel if somebody is sent back to a regime that they are murdered. And obviously, nobody is comfortable with that. But Reform's pitch is we have to put the British people first. Now, it'll be popular with many. It's a very sort of radical message that we're hearing. Would it be able to be implemented? Of course, that is entirely another question. Pulling out of all these legal agreements, this stuff would be very, very difficult.
Okay. I'm thoroughly assured this time that the Minister for European Union Relations, Nick Thomas-Symonds, is available and we're ready. There he is there. There's the man himself. Nick, you've been busy doing a deal with Europe, or trying to do a deal that will come into force next year. What is the deal?
Well, Eamonn, first of all, very good to join you this morning, as always. Now, the deal that we secured on the 19th of May is going to be a deal that is good for jobs, particularly jobs in energy and renewable energy, for example, in the North Sea. It's going to give us additional tools to tackle crime, including things like additional criminal records sharing or facial recognition. What that will do is send a message: there's no place for criminals to hide on our continent. But also, crucially, a deal in trade in food and drink to make food and drink trade easier between the UK and the EU so that we don't have businesses drowning in red tape or having to pay the fees they are at the moment. Just to give you an example, an export health certificate, which is about exporting animals and animal products, so types of food from the UK to the EU, you have to pay £200 per consignment. So not per lorry, not an annual fee, but per consignment. We want to sweep those charges away. Reform, and the Conservatives, before they even read this deal, they opposed it. They want to reimpose those costs on businesses and risk higher bills for families up and down the country, and they need to be upfront about that.
Yeah. Well, good luck to you in trying to achieve that. But in a deal, there's two sides to a deal. That's what you're hoping to get from Europe. What are you giving them?
So we've already secured the agreement in principle. It's in the common understanding that we secured on the 19th of May. It is clearly something that is of mutual benefit to both sides because it means that trade in both directions is going to be significantly easier. Similarly, Eamonn, in respect of sharing things like criminal records or biometric data, again, that is in our mutual interest. That means we can track down criminals more easily, but also means that criminals within the European Union can be tracked down more easily as well. So this really is a deal that is a win-win deal. And it's going to benefit people, it's going to be good for jobs, better able to secure our borders, good for bills. And it is for the opposition parties in this country to tell the public why they oppose it.
What do you say to people then who say this is the UK getting back into bed with the EU? They're worried that British producers are going to be bound by EU regulations once again, that will be bowing to Brussels once again.
So this is about making Brexit work. We pledged back in the general election we wouldn't rejoin the single market, we wouldn't rejoin the customs union, we wouldn't go back to freedom of movement. We won't. We are not going back to the debates of the past. And indeed, the next general election, if they seek to reverse this deal, it's going to be reform that are taking the country backwards. And on the issue of rules and standards, we will, of course, now, over the next few months, negotiate those particular areas where in the UK we want to continue to diverge. But we are openly going to be having, yes, common high standards. And we are doing that partly because it's already happening. You may recall a bit of a controversy about smoky bacon crisps and the ingredients for them in recent months.
Yeah.
When you actually spoke to the crisp producers, they'd already made the change. They were doing it anyway, but getting no benefit from it.
So are the crisps,
like
are the crisps not smoky anymore, Nick? Are the crisps not smoky anymore?
They're smoky enough for you. They're smoky enough for you and for me, Eamonn, I'm absolutely sure. You still have a very nice packet of smoky bacon.
But you know,
crisps.
smoky bacon are my favourite crisps. They're my favourite crisps, and they're not commonly available, it has to be said. But they're definitely I could eat smoky bacon all day.
Nick Thomas-Simmons, whilst we've got you, can I ask you about
We'll try our best to keep the smoky bacon crisps.
OK.
Can I ask you about the energy price cap? News this morning that that's going to rise by 2%. Yes. It's going to affect households this winter yet again. We spoke to the Conservatives in the last hour. They said this is yet another broken promise by Labour, who promised us that our bills were going to come down.
Well, first of all, the announcement of the 2% rise, it will obviously affect those customers who are not on fixed tariffs. There's a real worry, of course, as we understand that, for families up and down the country. That is why we are going to be expanding this winter to 2.7 million more households. The Warm Homes discount of £150. So that is about help now that is on its way, in addition to the over 3 million households that already receive it. But this is also the starkest of reminders about why we need change. We need that clean, homegrown energy, because if you look at energy prices today, the wholesale price of gas is still 75% above where it was when Putin invaded Ukraine. That's why we've got to drive forward with our clean energy mission by 2030, not just to bring bills down over that period, but also because we need energy security. We can't leave ourselves at the whims of dictators like Putin. So it's both driving forward with renewable energy, which is what this government is doing, lifted the ban on onshore wind that the previous government had in place since 2015, for example, but civil nuclear, which we've been announcing investment in places like Sizewell C as well.
OK. Talking about at the whims of dictators, Nigel Farage's speech yesterday, which, Nick, I know you won't agree with a lot of it, but it's very, very popular. There's a lot of support for it. However, controversially, where would you stand on deals with the Taliban and Iran?
Well, look, we already do deport people who have no right to be here back to Afghanistan and continue to. That's actually happening at the moment. But let me just take that point, because we saw yesterday from Nigel Farage, he likes to stoke grievance and then produces completely outlandish, unrealistic promises to solve them. So we heard from him about detention, but he won't tell you where people are going to be detained. He's asked about women and children, but he isn't able to give you an answer. And frankly, the idea of him seeking to negotiate with hostile regimes when he can't even negotiate the politics of a parliamentary party that would fit in the back of a taxi, I find quite difficult to take seriously.
Nick, Thomas Symonds is our Minister for European Relations. Good luck with the deal that you're trying to carve out, Nick. And we look forward to seeing it in action. Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, thank you for joining us on Breakfast.
Thank you.
Now, it's 12 minutes past 9. It's your final week to see how you could live the next year mortgage or rent-free with an additional £5,000 in your bank account. But if you don't have those payments to make each month, don't worry, you can still enter and you could end up with £15,000 in tax-free cash. Here's how.
There's just 2 days left to see how you could win your mortgage or rent paid for a whole year. That's a cash lump sum equivalent to 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, right up to a whopping £20,000. Plus, we'll add an extra £5,000 on top for good measure. And if you don't have a mortgage or rent to pay, lucky you, we'll give you £15,000 tax-free cash instead. Hurry, lines close this Friday. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Now, still to come, the most exciting story of today. And you're getting excited, aren't you?
Totally. Can't wait.
It's a love story. Taylor Swift is engaged. Her fans are going wild for the news. It's all over the papers this morning. The whole country's excited. We're going to be talking about it next.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
Because the failure is...
You're
the failure is...
deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
He knelt to the ground, he pulled out a ring and said, "Marry me, Taylor Swift." Shall I carry on? The producers have done a lovely job here, doing a very punny intro. So I'll continue. The pop superstar shakes off single life as she announces her engagement to NFL player Travis Kelce. The 35-year-old made the whole place shimmer, sharing the announcement in a joint Instagram post with the Kansas City Chiefs player, Travis Kelce, which showed pictures of him proposing in a garden.
So how many more puns and references to your songs can you get in?
I've got another 2 in this intro alone. Shall I carry on? The couple have been fearless since going public in 2023 and are now ready for their end game. That's it, I promise.
Well, earlier we got reaction from our top woman in showbiz, Kinsey Schofield. Are you excited, Kinsey? I suppose you are.
I am. I thought the writing was pretty clever, too, so shout out to the producers that put that together. I thought that was pretty cute. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for them. They match each other in ambition, and it gives you faith, Eamonn, that you can have it all, a successful career and start a family. I think it's very romantic, and I love the way that he celebrates her. I think that that's the sweetest thing to watch. I mean, they do celebrate each other, but watching the way Travis celebrates Taylor's wins is really, I mean, she could be an intimidating character. She's this self-made, very intelligent woman.
And they're just such a lovely couple together, aren't they, Kinsey? I mean, this is huge news all over the world. It got millions of likes within minutes, didn't it? But it's huge news stateside because even the president was asked about it. And we've got a clip of that. Let's just have a listen to what he had to say.
Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are engaged, and the world wants your reaction, sir.
Well, I wish him a lot of luck. No, I think he's a great player. I think he's a great guy, and I think that she's a terrific person. So I wish them a lot of luck.
That's very nice, Kinsey. Very generous towards Taylor Swift because he said previously, I think, that he hates her, hasn't he?
He did say that on Truth Social, so this is an improvement. Yeah, I mean, this is more than a celebrity couple. It's become a cultural milestone. They met through Travis's podcast. He went to her concert and was disappointed that he didn't get to meet her and was complaining about it on his podcast. And they quickly became the most talked about pairing in modern pop culture. She attends his games. NFL ratings have gone through the roof over it. And you're right, it is a national talking point. So, of course, we're excited 2 years after they started dating that they're going to take the next big step and get married.
He's a big guy, Kinsey.
Yeah, he's a stallion. And to Ellie's point, Taylor really has had a wild ride when it comes to her exes. Can I tell you guys a secret that I've never told anyone before? I broke through Radar Online in Amber Island. I was the source that broke that Taylor Swift and Harry Styles had been dating.
Yeah, she's actually dated lots of British men, you know. I'd say a good 4 or 5. Calvin Harris she was dating, wasn't she? And the actor Tom Hiddleston. So she dated loads and loads of British people. But I think it's very fitting that she's ended up with an NFL star. I think they're all-American couple. And she actually said that on the post last night, didn't she? She said the English your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married, because people always say she looks like an English teacher and he looks like he teaches PE.
So
very good.
When is the big day likely to be, Kinsey?
I think that they might keep this a secret from us. I would watch this in the way that I would watch a royal wedding and pop a bottle of champagne and get on my couch in my pajamas and eat up every second of it. But they are kind of a private couple. So I would not be surprised if they did it under the radar and we found out about it after the fact or through some drone or helicopter footage.
So there it is.
Lovely
There's the happy
news.
couple, and we still don't know really when the big day will be. Do you think they might go public or private with it?
I think the opposite to Kinsey. I think they are very public with their relationship, always have been. I think this is going to be a big public affair. I think it could be like a royal wedding, but an American version.
Would it be as big as your wedding?
Maybe it'll be about the same size, a 3-day extravaganza. But my money, and I call it now, she has a big property in Rhode Island. I think they'll get married quite soon, maybe on her property. I could be wrong, but they've got all the money in the world.
Well, I suppose...
They could get married tomorrow, couldn't they?
When you look at them individually, they're both in their mid-30s.
35, yeah.
Independently wealthy. So they can, I presume, strike some sort of agreement where they just take what they have themselves and not interfere with the other person's wealth or earnings.
Yeah, because there's already talk about prenup, because she's a billionaire. And actually, testament to her power, she's on the front page of every single newspaper in Britain, which I think is bonkers, considering they're obviously both American. And did you see, I was fascinated by this morning, the stock of diamonds has gone up overnight, something like 3%.
So the idea is that after seeing her ring...
Everybody wants to buy a diamond and be like Taylor Swift.
I don't.
But you like glitzy things and diamonds. So up 3%. Trustonomics is what they call it. It's when you see her make an impact on the economy. So let's see what Dawn and Andrew make of this very exciting engagement news. Dawn and Andrew, are you there? What do you make of this?
Oh, we're thrilled, absolutely thrilled. We have Taylor's #1 fan here.
I did ask earlier, who does Taylor Swift play for?
Oh, dear.
Not my expertise.
Andrew.
Talking of expertise, we've got Nigel Farage's press conference later this morning in Edinburgh, building on what he would regard as a huge success of his press conference yesterday in his speech on reform.
Joining him live, that's going to be fascinating to hear what he has to say, and given all the coverage in the newspapers today.
Yeah.
It's a really cracking show coming up for you, and obviously we are going to be talking about dealing with the Taliban. Vastly different opinions on this one here.
Yeah, because does the money go directly to the Taliban? Will it go via United Nations agencies? Controversial, but he's making the weather, and I think you're going to see the Tories and Labour scrambling to catch up, in my view. We've already heard Downing Street saying they don't rule anything out.
No, absolutely. So it's going to be a really packed, feisty show, and all of that coming up very soon.
And we are now going to go to the weather.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Some heavy, possibly thundery showers drifting their way eastwards through the course of the morning, and temperatures starting to return more towards average for the time of year, but always feeling warm in the sunshine across the east. A very different story across western areas, though. Some quite heavy and intense downpours slowly drifting their way eastwards, so expect some quite strong gusty winds, some intense outbreaks of rain, and possibly some thunder and lightning as this drifts its way eastwards across the country. So quite a damp start to the day, quite a damp start moving into the afternoon across eastern areas, and feeling quite blustery